is hello. Hi there. This is DPS Podcast. That's Damage Per Second Podcast, episode 236. And we are back on a fine Thursday night. Feeling all right. Yes, we are. I'm here with my co-host, Gaming Forte. I am his co-host, SloMoBackSlap, and we have our stepchild of a guest, it seems, because he's always here, you know, but he's not really, you know, whatever. Stepchild's wrong. Stepbrother? I don't know, something like that. Game Logic, although he has not said a word since jumping in. I don't know if he fell asleep at his desk. I don't know if he went to the bathroom and had some extracurriculars to take care of. I don't know if he got kidnapped by aliens. Oh, there he is.
I apologize. I had because I've been in the GCP server this week. When I'm on GCP, I use the software mute. With my podcasting setup, I only use the hardware mute. So I had the software mute on. So I apologize. And what I had said was, when you first came in to this waiting room or whatever, I'd said that I'm here, but I'm just on mute while I'm eating.
Oh yeah, I heard none of that.
Let me throw out slander number 2 and slander number 3 for tonight. I know Forte ain't coming here talking about he ain't here when he showed up late.
Oh, you heard
3,
that.
And then 3, slow-mo. Bro, you can't just send us live and not say anything.
He does it every week.
No, I have the countdown.
Bro, the only way I knew we was live was I have my
only time
air over here with the
only
YouTube
time
on.
Right. Only time I knew he was live is because he said, "Hi, DPS Podcast." I'm like, "Oh, we're live."
Yeah.
Well, if you were paying attention, you would know the intro had started. You know.
Well, I don't know you started the intro.
Hey, thanks for having me on, by the way. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, I know. Look.
And I hate to hijack, but
sure,
can I got something I need to get off my chest.
Hijack away.
Can I get it off my chest right at the start? Look.
Get that thing off you.
Look, the down with exclusives crowd. There are pros and cons to exclusives.
Oh.
But the down with exclusive crowd only wants to talk about the cons. They don't want to talk about the pros. When you bring up a pro, oh, well, that's not allowed. You can't include that. And then the thing that really has me bent is you guys taking this moral high ground that we're arguing for consumers.
No, you're not.
Pause.
They never are.
I ain't asked you to speak for me. I'm not interested in you speaking up for me to get me crappier products at cheap prices. We're not.
He said he don't want no Walmart gaming.
Thank you. We ain't all built the same. And then my last thing for people who are gonna paint with this brush. When I go and look at your Twitter profile, and your Twitter profile is nothing but you belly aching and whining about prices, atting Phil Spencer and other people at Xbox, congratulating them for keeping gaming affordable for people. But then I look in your media tab, and your media tab ain't nothing but memes. You ain't got a screenshot. You ain't got a game clip. I can't tell in any kind of way that you actually play games.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds fraudulent.
You're not credible. In this house, we listen to credible gamers only. And the way you floss
he said, I need to see your resume.
Thank you.
I need to see your gaming resume.
Your CV.
Let me. Where your gamer tag at? Where your PSN ID at? Where your Steam ID at? If you don't show it, I don't need to hear your mouth. That's what I'm talking about.
And we're not doing this. This is my last thing. And we're not doing this thing where the only way to lower risk for a game is to put it on every platform and put it in Game Pass. That ain't the only way to take risk out of a project. Taking risk out of a project includes only giving the devs one piece of hardware to concentrate on. That's a conversation. And I'm not even going to say that's completely right, that's the silver bullet. It's not. But we're not going to say there's only one way to de-risk a project. And then whenever the other side tries to say, but you could do this other thing too, then we point at anecdotes. Well, it didn't work for this game. Well, it didn't work for that game. Well, this game went multi-platform. And it was fine. Frauds.
Jesus.
Ooh.
Who
gonna have to
pissed it? I want to know who pissed it. I want to know who pissed in your Cheerios.
We need to know who you are sending these bars to, because that's a.
I'm not gonna name names on the show. I'm not gonna name.
Okay.
Names.
Oh no, we said after the show.
Okay. Oh yeah.
After the show.
Yes.
We'll talk afterwards.
I will point out the suspects, no doubt.
Oh, okay.
That's wild.
Well, I mean, outside of flaming frauds, what you been playing, Game Logic?
Death Stranding 2.
Okay. How far are you into it?
Not as far as some of y'all.
Well, I've only played 3 hours, which I streamed. I haven't played any more than that, so you probably are further than me.
Okay. I'm in Australia, but I am just on like the first like real mission. So I've left I've left the Magellan. I've been told to go out and contact, and these aren't spoilers. I mean, I think it's fairly obvious, right, in terms of the plot of the game. I've been told to transit to meet with the Australian like government, right, or as far as it's constituted right now, and try and bring them, offer not peace, but
Are we playing the same game? He said Australian. I thought they were going. I thought he was in Mexico.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to spoil anything. We'll let that.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's fine. It's probably he probably named every character in Australia Aussie. Something with the word Aussie in it, so they're Australian. You know how.
Yeah, I thought it was fairly well known where the bulk of the game takes place, because I knew that, and I don't hang on every trailer and everything. But
gotcha. Cool.
Yeah. So point being is there's a upfront part of the game, and then there's a transition, and I've just passed like that first like opening chapter, I guess I would say, or two. And I'm really embarking on like the first major mission.
Gotcha. Yeah. I need to get back into it. I just keep getting distracted. But go ahead. My bad.
Depending on the way you play it, it's tough. I mean, for me, it's tough because I like really get into all of like the cargo management and the equipment management and building. Right. So it's going to take me forever, right, to finish the game probably. But it's still it's a good game. I'm enjoying it. I also picked up College Football 26, so I just started that, and I'm trying to make time and find time to play that the way it needs to be played. It's not technically not a live service game, but it's a game that can suck up a lot of time. Mm-hmm. So I started.
Forte, have you grabbed that yet? I know you were all in on that last year. Okay, never mind. Go ahead, Logic.
Last time we talked to Forte, he said the coverage and stuff he'd seen was that it wasn't anything like remarkable beyond last year. So I don't know if he got in. What was weird to me about the whole way that game came out is the embargo lifted. There were only like 2 reviews for like days, and even coming out of the first weekend, there was only like 4 reviews for PlayStation 5 and like 4 reviews for Xbox. So. It's weird. I guess maybe people felt that they got burnt last year, maybe trying to do reviews quick, and maybe they're taking longer to do reviews. So I don't know how many reviews are out now, but that's why I held back a little until I could see some more reviews.
I didn't play I briefly played last year's college football, and I just don't really play sports games like that in general, but I do recall back when I used to be heavy on them that typically like your first like the day one rosters weren't very accurate. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe people are waiting for like the adjustment once once people are like, hey, this Alabama quarterback ain't this bad, or or hey, like Michigan is better than this, then they make some adjustments, and then everyone's pretty much cool with where it is. But I don't know. I haven't played in a long time, so I don't know how accurate that stuff is.
What was the question you asked? I had to reset my headphone, my mic.
Did you pick up college football yet?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, sure didn't. And I had to recalibrate. That game was sucking too much money from me, and I was like, no.
Wait, money? No. What are you paying for, Forte?
Ultimate Team.
Ultimate Team.
Oh man.
I was in Ultimate Team. I was in there like
Ultimate Team takes
I was in there
ultimate.
like swimwear. I was in there like swimwear, man. It was it was wild. I don't even want to talk about it, but no, it was just more of, I didn't see enough changes that made me want to buy it, and I'm kind of glad I waited, because a lot of people that I watched and followed from last year that's playing it, and they made content around it, so of course they were going to buy it. But a lot of them said they just liked the overall gameplay better in 25. Like 26 is they magnified it basically with 26. Like it's got a lot of the stuff that Madden has going on. Okay. So it's not, but I mean, presentation and everything is really good, but some of the stuff that plagues Madden kind of plagues this one. And outside of just getting the updated rosters, as much as I love college football, and I don't want to pay $70 for just to have a new roster. I'll wait. I'll get it. I am going to get it at some point, but this game is literally going to drop on sale. It's going to be $30 by the time the football season starts.
Yeah, it is a graphical novel. I mean, you can see that the visuals are slightly
you
improved.
can see it. Yeah, you can see it. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, I just look at that and I'm sitting there like, yeah, this isn't, in my opinion, worth, $70 to upgrade to, when I know this game is going to be $40. Yeah. By probably October when the season is in full swing. So, and it's really ironic me saying that, because I have kind of come full circle on the value of things, and we always talk about how value is subjective and stuff. I remember saying this game, like what was it? Returnal. I'm not paying $70 for Returnal, and I love oh my god, I'm drawing a blank on the studio. Housemarque. Yeah, because I played Resogun and I love those games and stuff, but it was like, it's not that. But then I played and I was like, okay, it's good. It still to me wasn't worth 70, but now the value of something is so super subjective to me now. It's like, because I jumped into like Pokemon and stuff and like collecting cards, and just today alone, I went to the store because I'm at a part of collecting like certain sets and stuff, and I'm at a part, I'm like, at this point, could I do master sets where you collect every card that can be pulled from a pack? I collect them, I put them in a binder, and they're in set order. So I'm at the point where a lot of the sets I have to complete are like 90 to 95, and I got like 3 sets that are like 90 to 95% complete already. So it's no reason for me to go out and buy an individual pack, because the cards I'm looking for, I could just go buy those cards instead of hoping and praying. But I just today literally went to the store, the LGS by my house, and spent $40 on cardboard, a card that I needed for that set. And it kind of hit me when you just said what you were talking about just a second ago about, people, talking about the worth of things. And I'm like, man, it's like, it is truly what is value to you, and truly what is something that you enjoy the most. Because the reason I ended up going in this route is because, and it's honestly because of college football. I put so much money, because I love football. Me, SloMo, we always talk about it and stuff, to the point where I was like putting money into the game. And then when the season was up, none of that stuff goes with you. It's like you are literally leaving behind everything you did in the previous game, and none of the money you spent matters when 26 comes out. So I told myself
that stuff. So you put all that money in an Ultimate Team and like there's literally nothing that comes over.
Nothing goes over. Nothing goes over. Everything is locked on 25. So
that's another. I was about to say that's another reason why I don't mess with a lot of the sports games, because they're like that. But then I play Call of Duty, which does the same thing.
Yeah, but to an extent, but some of the stuff in Call of Duty, though, some of your like
in Warzone, everything is still there, but in the actual Call of Duty multiplayer, it's not. Although we kind of all acknowledge they're doing right. They're doing like these expansion instead of full sequels, every other year. And so you kind of like, it wouldn't surprise me when they finally reveal the gameplay for Black Ops 7 that they say, yeah, all your skins from 6, even though they mostly suck, will still be there, and your weapons will still be there, because it's essentially the the same game, but with another like mini campaign and new maps and stuff like that, and some new changes to gameplay.
Yeah, but like I said, just getting to the end of it. So I've always had this addictive attitude when it comes to like either playing something or collecting something, and Destiny was my drug of choice for a long time, and then college football last year was my drug of choice for I literally was the only game I was playing the whole year. And then I just got to that point where I was like, no, I can't do it. And then I had to find something else. And one of my associates, Lex, she's probably in the chat because she watches every time that we go live. She's a huge Pokemon person, and she was showing me like cards and stuff, and she showed me this.
Does she also call you out for not playing games? I just want to,
Oh, she always calls me out. She asked me what's she.
Oh, good.
She came to the. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Shout out to her.
Yeah. She showed me some of her Pokemon stuff, and my favorite Pokemon is Typhlosion, and she showed me a new card for him, and it instantly triggered for me, and I was like, "Yo, I have to collect that card. I need that card because that's my favorite Pokemon." So that's what got me started. And then I'm one of those people, like once I start collecting, I just have to just keep going. And right now it's like, I look at it as I can see this 10 years from now, because I'm not in it to sell it or anything. I'm just in it because I like the art. So when I see it in a binder or I see it in a collection, I'm like, this is something even 5 years from now that I put money into has a chance of appreciating, because, Pokemon cards are getting super expensive now, but it's something that goes forward versus Ultimate Team. It's gone. And I'm like, yo, and I don't even want it's kind of crazy. But yeah, when you said what you had said, that kind of just triggered like the whole mindset of how my overall process. And when SloMo asked me about college football, did I buy it? I was like, no, because I don't want to spend $70 on a game that is literally the same freaking game from last year with graphical updates. But that was it.
Well, that's some of the stuff you talked about for both college football. I've heard that's kind of like me in comic books. I don't like getting it. Like, my problem is if I get into comic books and I start reading again, it's like I have to read. Like, I have to understand like the whole continuity.
Yes.
Right, the whole universe,
gosh.
to get into the events.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's very difficult for me to like read comic books and only read like 2 or 3 comic books a week. I'm not like
because they just be referencing stuff that happened in other series and in events. Oh man, what happened? Cyclops, you lost one of your eyes. Yeah, that happened.
How did that happen? Find out 3 books ago.
And in the next frame, there's a little box at the bottom saying, "Yeah, Scott lost his eye in issue 44." And I'm like, crap. So like, I've been there. So I've been like, I since off and on since I was 11 years old, I've been like heavy into comics, and I think what has helped me. And then kind of like weaned me off of them to a degree. I still get like the volumes when it's like maybe like 5 or 6 issues in one
trade paperbacks.
Yeah, right. And but I have a Marvel Unlimited license, so when I get the urge to go in and start reading, I can just go to another book, and I don't care that's like a good 5-6 months behind what the currents are, because I'm not as locked in as I used to be. But yeah, I used to spend so much money, and I got a gazillion comics. When I had I had the leak in my basement and had to get my office renovated. I had some of them like in boxes that were in a segment of my basement, and some of them got ruined. But they weren't like the really expensive stuff. Like X-Men like The Walking Dead issue 1.
Wow.
You know, I've got X-Men #1, where like X-Men #1 through 9, which was that Jim Lee, the Chris Claremont run from the 90s, like early 91. I got a lot of great stuff. I got like Wildcats #1, all kinds of like I've got like a ton of great comics, and I used to read them all the time. Like I didn't get them to, this is going to be worth a lot one day. Like I got Invincible #1. I got it because everyone in my comic book store said, this is dope and you should read this. I didn't get it because it was like, oh, like Robert Kirkman's, all his stuff is going to turn into TV shows one day and this is going to be worth a lot of money. But you know, it is what it is. Like you get into it, and then you get to these habits of like, well, I gotta read this stuff. I gotta read what's next. And now I'm more like, okay, I'll Google that. Like finding out what happened, what I missed. And especially when you go away from it, let's say you take like a good year off from reading, when you come back, so much has changed. And then you're trying to get caught up, and then they're referencing, it's like they know that people do this, and they're referencing all this stuff that you don't know about. And then next thing you know, you're on eBay buying this random issue to get caught up on, you know, what happened here. And it's just like, nah, fam, I can't do it no more. Yeah.
So I got 2 more games. I'll just speak them real quick and then let y'all do your stuff. So the other 2 things I've been playing is Ghost of Tsushima on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Lots of fun. That's one of the reasons why I came into the GCP Discord today hot, because I thought I'd heard Yote is DLC, and I've been playing Tsushima. I watched the 19-minute thing, and I made a list of like all the things that like were different or new, or that they were adding to the game, and I was like, no. But it turns out that was a false positive. That was not what was going on in there. So I'm glad to hear that. Super looking forward to Ghost of Yote here in October. And then I've been replaying the Halo Infinite campaign, so having a lot of fun.
Nice. How do you like it after all the patches?
I mean, I like it. I only played a very small part of it when it came out, and then I just became all about that multiplayer, like I do with Call of Duty now, or was doing with Call of Duty. So I don't know that I would know like where there's been a patch or an improvement. I noticed that the performance is pretty good. I'm not super happy. I need to go and look at it.
I mean, there ain't nothing in those environments. It's pretty empty out there.
No, I mean, what I was gonna say is I don't like the performance seems to be better, and I'm playing on console, but nice. It feels like the frame pacing isn't that great.
Not on console. It definitely isn't.
and I've been meaning to go pull the thread and see if there was like a Digital Foundry work on it to see if I'm like, if that's just a placebo effect that I'm telling myself that. But you know, but in general, the game's fun. It's really nice. I had a revisionist history memory of thinking like you didn't have the grappling hook from the very beginning, but you do.
Oh, you got different, right off the bat.
So it's been super fun. I've been really enjoying going back and playing it. I love shooters. I love, people didn't like things about the Halo Infinite campaign, but first-person shooter campaigns are very straight up. There's not puzzles. There's not a bunch of bullcrap like in your windshield. And I like the open world stuff of like being able to choose your stuff. What was really interesting was I did a Let's Play of it, and I played about an hour. And as I was uploading it to YouTube, I was writing some show notes, and I was like, oh wait, like in an hour's time, I like I found like this platoon and that platoon and freed a fob and invaded. And I was like, I got a lot done in an hour. So it's well paced, and like I said, I'm enjoying the playthrough.
Yeah, I remember.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember playing that game. It's like, man, and the cool thing about it is you could go, if you can see it, you can go there. You just have to find a way to get there with the grappling hook, and it's kind of crazy some of the places you get to in that game.
Yeah, I think I beat the campaign in like, I think a weekend is not. It's too short. I think it may have been about 3 or 4 games, 3 or 4 days.
It was a week. It was a week for me, basically.
Yeah,
I will say
it was an okay campaign. It just they were not prepared to do one of those like Destiny kind of like, let's continue the story in the next expansion next year kind of thing.
Yeah,
like with their engine and their work pipeline.
It's over.
Nah, that was a mistake.
I will say the one thing that's super interesting about it is like I said, I'm playing that. I'm playing Death Stranding 2, and in Death Stranding 2, I love vehicles and how they enhance your mobility around the world. It's kind of interesting and funny that like in Halo, at first I was getting into in Halo Infinite, I was getting into the vehicles, and of course, and I felt like that rush like of getting back on the Mongoose and getting it back into Warthog. Right, the first time I toe dipped into the campaign, I was starting to feel that here, but shortly into it, I was like, this is a pain. Like trying to traverse this palette in this planet, the Zeta Halo in these vehicles is a pain because you don't really know right how the roads are laid out. They're not necessarily laid out like sensibly. So you're like constantly like you drive 50 yards and then I'm opening the map to see where which of these roads in whichever direction is that actually a road or is it just like a canyon somewhere. So in Halo Infinite, I've quickly gone to, I'm not bothering with vehicles anymore. I just traverse the planet, like you said, Forte, like with the grappling hook and sprinting. But in Death Stranding 2, I like absolutely love the vehicles. So it's just interesting, right? The different way that's playing out.
Oh, they let you use vehicles in that game? Oh, okay.
In Death Stranding 2? Oh yeah. Hey,
listen, man, I'm just saying.
This is a joke.
You be
this
playing.
You gotta see his Death Stranding stream because this man was so triggered. He was so triggered looking at all these vehicles all over these facilities, and he still got to walk and Forte walking. Look, I recommend everyone check out the Death Stranding streams. He did 2 streams. He was supposed to do a 3rd one the next day, but of course, no one expected Forte to actually do what he said he was going to do.
Actually, I am going to do another one because I was talking
Forte,
to...
you said you were going to do. I'm going to do it. I'm going to stream again tomorrow, and I was okay.
No, because then I went to work, and then I was like, no. But no, it was actually after you. I think after you got off, I streamed for like another hour.
Oh, really?
I streamed for like I didn't get off the stream until.
Yeah,
I want to say 1:30.
I forgot to make the clip. I'm gonna make a clip of you in the river.
Of the river,
good grief!
Bro, you
Logic.
You was dying.
I couldn't breathe because every time I looked up, Forte was falling in that river, and more of the stuff on his back was just floating down the screen, and he was like, "Oh no!" I was not.
Did Forte not play the first one?
No,
he was playing the first one. He was playing it.
Oh, this is a stream of the first one.
Yeah.
Yes. He started playing Death Stranding 1.
Okay.
And so he's playing it, and he tried to traverse this river, and everyone kept telling him, "Dude, scan to see where you need to go to get that." And he's hoarding resources for no reason. He's got like a ladder, he's got ropes, and he got all kinds of ways to get across this river. Instead, he just gonna huff it. And then next thing you know, he's falling.
Just do it on
Stuff
faith.
is flying out of his backpack. He's trying to get up and grab the stuff while he's still slipping in the river. He falls some more. More stuff comes out. I'm in tears. Like I can't even breathe at this point. It's so funny. And I think, long story short, he finally he thought he got everything. He gets to the destination and they're like, "Yeah, you missing the package." So he had to go back out.
Patches delivered.
So he had to go back out to the river to go find that one package that had like, I don't know, like stuck on a rock or something somewhere down. Like somehow it didn't go too far, but like it was hilarious.
It was so classic.
So we do have to commend Forte after much haggling and insulting him into as a means of motivation that he and I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I will. I shamed this man into finally playing the game and doing what he said he was going to do, and it was well worth it because it was a hilarious stream. It was a good time. Some people said I was trying to dissuade him from having a good time. I was not.
That's
if anything, I was trying to encourage the man.
That's what everybody kept saying after you left.
Wow.
They was like, see, now you could actually enjoy the game because SloMo done left.
And crazy. See, I wasn't doing nothing but just sitting back and just enjoying the show. But anyway, Forte, how was your experience with Death Stranding 1?
That's not a game, bro. That's not a game. That's a job. But it's a job. But yeah, but I was for real. And we were making fun of the game because of just a lot of the stuff. I can see why people like it. It's not that I never said I disliked the game. I just always said it's a game that's not for me. The way that they portrayed the game and they showed it off the first time is you are going to be this person that's delivering these packages and connecting the United States of America, and I still don't know where my presidential detail is. I'm still waiting for it. But after playing it and experience it for like, I think it was like almost 5.5 hours that I played, I can see why people like it. I mean, but put it this way, if you do not like fetch quests, that's what this game, the first one, that's at least the first half, the first part that I did, that's what it is. But everybody said in the chat that the next stream would be more like even more enjoyable, because they said that's when you really get into like the action side of it. Because like even a lot of people kept saying you're in like the tutorial area, and I could kind of see that. But I did enjoy it, but I don't know if I enjoyed the game because I was playing something that was different and it wasn't something I normally play. And I had SloMo there with me talking, and the chat was like having fun, and it was more of like a community thing. So I think
you needed a palate cleanser from the usual. I think so. Maybe sometimes you get in a rut because you keep playing the same kinds of games, and you actually need something that's different. And this is definitely different. I mean, it's different. There ain't nothing like it. And and I'm not. That's not a compliment if you if you were confused by why I say that. But I mean, I understand some people enjoy that.
But I think
you need something different every now and then.
Yeah, I think in general, the reason I do want to play it one more time is just to like, now that I kind of know exactly, because I wasn't like you said, SloMo, I wasn't pulling out my ladder, I wasn't hitting my scanner, and it was mostly because I was just going through the motions of just playing the game. But once you left the stream and then it was just me and the chat, that's when I kind of just started like really playing the game. And I was like, oh, so that's what this is for, and this is what that is for. And then I started reading the chat, and once they was like, make sure that you got your stamina, and I was like, oh, let me look at this, and I was like, oh, cool, I see the stamina meter. That stuff was always there. I just was kind of ignoring it because I was like just begrudgingly playing this game. So by the time I got through with the stream, I actually was playing better. I actually got into like, I forget, like I went to go get a resource to bring back and got into a fight. I actually got away from one of the BTs when they came and attacked me, and I was able to like get away without like dying or whatever they considered a reset, the void out happening. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm starting to figure this out. So that's why I want to kind of go back just to like experience it actually paying attention and not just like begrudgingly playing the game. But I enjoyed it. But like I said, it was like you said, a palate cleanser.
The chat says I was a buzzkill and blame
they say
the things that you didn't like on me. So I would say next time you go live, I will not jump in the Discord with you. I will just watch from the audience and see, and we'll see how much you like it. Okay.
Oh no, yeah. Well, I'm gonna jump in and do it because that's what everybody said. They said, yeah, you need to play this without slow-mo here because he's buzzkill. But
anyway, anything else you've played in the past week?
I started to play through Hollow Knight. I re-downloaded it on my Switch 2. So I'm going through Hollow Knight again because I, wanted to, I was at work and I was trying to see, it was slow and I was like, oh, I want to play something. And I was like, well, let me re-download Hollow Knight so I can like start that journey again because I know the new one's coming out sometime this holiday or October, November. So that's the only other game I started playing. That was something I wasn't playing, but nope, that's it pretty much.
Cool.
I finished the 24 franchise again, by the way. Just finished the whole thing. All 9 seasons?
I can't watch 24. I told you this before.
Oh yeah, we talked about why you can't watch 24.
The fake spy and tech stuff just make I can't unsee like stuff that's just clearly like the writers and directors had no idea what the hell they're talking about. I'm just like, what is this? No, I can't. Regardless of how good Kiefer Sutherland is and all that, I couldn't do it. So, yeah. What have I been playing? Let's see. More Blitz Royale, which I got on the Jumbotron. That's a ton of fun. And I'm almost finished with Dark Deity 2, which is like it's kind of like Fire Emblem, but just probably not as. It's kind of like not the art, like the graphical settings aren't the best, but you do get to see like the anime version of these characters when they speak, and so the story's really good. Actually, it's getting like the longer I play, the better it gets story wise, and now I'm starting to really like set up some pretty cool builds on some of these characters, and the strategy is becoming more complex to complete your missions. They have these challenges that are like really hard sometimes, and so I feel like in a lot of ways it's better than Fire Emblem, but just not, the story's not bad, but when it comes to story, it doesn't compare to Three Houses, and the characters aren't as good. But it is, Dark Deity 2 is a very good game. And then the Cyberpunk update came out today, 2.3. It's not a lot, and I'll actually get into that with some of the rapid fire topics of what they actually came out with, but it does improve things, some quality of life experiences, but they did introduce some bugs that they definitely need to take care of. So, what is the chat saying? Gregor's begging to come into the Discord next time you play the Whisper in Your Ear, which is just strange that he wants to do that. Slackro says I need to get a used 3DS if I want to play some more. No, I want a new Fire Emblem. And even though it's not a topic, apparently there's a rumor that there's a Nintendo Direct coming soon. It's Nate the Hate, who apparently is like the most accurate leaker current going right now, said there should be one coming soon after Donkey Kong Bonanza has come out. And so since that's out, where my Direct at? And where's my Fire Emblem? I want new Fire Emblem. Give me new Fire Emblem, and I'm in there like swimwear. Anywho, you guys ready for these rapid fire topics?
Yep.
Logic, you good?
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
All right. Contraband is actually not canceled. Shockingly. After Microsoft laid off 9,000 workers, and a significant number of those 9,000 came out of the gaming division, there were studio closures. There were, a lot of studios just bleeding workers, as well as game cancellations. People just assumed that Contraband was also canceled simply because that game had a 1-minute teaser trailer that showed not a lick of gameplay
in 2020.
And
right?
Yes, 5 years ago, and we've heard nothing since. But despite all the layoffs, studio closures, and game cancellations, they have recently released a job listing for a product lead that has experience launching live service games. So it looks like, this is my assumption and logic. I want to know your opinion on this. It seems to me that this game survived cancellation for two reasons. One, it's probably looking pretty promising, and then two, it's probably going to release in the next year. And so it was just kind of like, what's the purpose of canceling a game that's almost ready to go? And you have some level of confidence that it will do well. What do you think?
I'm scared for this game, SloMo.
Oh boy.
So
why are you scared?
So one thing that happened, and I haven't checked in on it in a very long time. So this studio is in, I can't remember if they're in Sweden or Switzerland. But they are.
It is Avalanche that did the Just Cause series.
Yeah, and they're headquartered in either Sweden or Switzerland. And so, if I'm not mistaken, so they're and I think it's Sweden, because I think they're a Scandinavian country. So I think, so if I remember this correctly, in that region of the world, the norm is for every industry to have some manner of basically nationalized unionization. The video game industry is not like that in whatever country they're home based in. There is a movement afoot. There was a movement afoot a few years ago to start.
It
moving
is Sweden.
in that direction. It is
It's
Sweden. Okay.
Stockholm,
Okay.
Sweden.
So
yeah. Go ahead.
Now they own satellite studios right in other parts of the world, but the headquarters is in Sweden.
Sweden, in Liverpool they have a satellite, and they had a studio in New York, and it sounds like those closed down last year due to layoffs. So that one and another one in Montreal also closed down.
Okay, so one of the things they were doing is they approved and ratified an intention for their employees to unionize. But what the company said at the time was that they accepted the ratification of that, but they had requested to not formally recognize the union and enter into any collective bargaining deals for a year. Now, at the time, and this was in 2023, I think, and I believe that the reason that they had pushed it off for a year was because they wanted to get Contraband out the door first, because when you unionize, things can slow down, right? You have to kind of do mother may I and go back and forth a lot more. It creates a lot more churn, and in general, it slows the pace of a lot of industries down in comparison to how quickly they move when they're not unionized. So I believed at the time that they were pushing it off so that they could get this thing done, because the last thing they wanted to do was go back to Xbox and say, hey, we now think that this game is going to be delayed by 6 months or a year because there's just some additional overhead involved with us getting things done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's scary to me that they didn't complete Contraband right within that timeline, and that theoretically, and again, I haven't checked back in yet, but theoretically they've now recognized that union and they're dealing with that churn. So I just don't know like what the, how realistic it is that this game is going to launch right anytime in the near future.
So you don't think them? I mean, like, of course, development is still going on, but them unionizing could also explain, and we're going to get into that, some other union things that in pertaining to Microsoft's layoffs that have occurred. But you think it's solely due to them unionizing that nothing happened with this game or the studio? It seems,
not solely. My concern is that that's part of the mix, right? The game was shown in 2020. We heard bupkis about it, right, for 3 years.
5 years, right? Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and I'm saying we didn't hear anything about it until 3 years, until I saw this news story that I was tracking about the unionization. And now it's 5 years, and we still haven't really heard a peep about it. Now the union stuff is going on. We have problems across the industry. We have Xbox drawing down what it looks to be their financial footprint, right, with regards to how many concurrent development projects they're supporting. And so all of it just creates this cloud of uncertainty that makes me concerned, right, about just, whether or not this thing is going to land. And I mean, not just this thing, but like other stuff, right? There's just a big cloud of uncertainty for me around the Xbox portfolio, right, entirety. Like, we're supposedly getting a Forte next year, but now because Turn 10 Studios has been slashed, I'm like, well, what is that Forza? Right? What is it based on? Who's putting it together? What is what even kind of game is it? Right? Is it another iteration of Motorsport where it's like the sim type thing, or is it a Horizon? We're pretty sure it's probably a Horizon thing, just because that seems to be the people. Like, but again, what does that look like? Because Horizon has always been an iteration right behind Forza Motorsport. The last Forza Motorsport didn't do too well, so I don't know. It's just, I'll be happy to see if it happens, but all of the things swirling around Xbox just make it very worrisome to me about exactly what's landing when, and whether or not it'll be good when it does land.
Gotcha. Forte, what are your thoughts on this?
So are we talking about just the game?
Well, I mean, it seems the game's still alive. They're cooked, still trying to hire people.
That game's cooked, bro. They hiring people for other projects. That game's cooked. It had 2020, and the only thing we heard about that game is the fact that they're still hiring 5 years later. They just haven't.
Immediately after a layoff, though. Massive layoffs they're not for the company that's funding the game. So
yeah, they're not laying off anybody from the studio. They are not. This game's not coming.
Well, they don't own Avalanche, so like it wouldn't be a direct layoff. Like Microsoft wouldn't be like, hey, you grab a box, like it's time to leave. Like they wouldn't do that, but it'd be kind of like what happened with Romero Games, where they stopped funding the game, and then Romero had to do layoffs, due to the lack of funding there. So that would be like an inner. Yeah, go ahead.
And Crystal Dynamics is there too, right? The game they were working on and supported has been canceled. So just a quick data point.
Yes.
So that April 2024, Avalanche announced its intention to sign a collective bargaining agreement, officially moving toward union representation for employees in Sweden. June 2025, as of June 5th, 2025, Avalanche Studios Group officially signed the collective bargaining agreement with Union and Engineers of Sweden. The agreement applies to all Avalanchers employed in Sweden and will commence in Q2 2025. So this is, this is the thing that makes it crystal ball problematic for me, right? So supposedly this agreement just got signed in April, May, June, right, and has now gone into effect. And just the way that changes the calculus is you were thinking about deploying this game and supporting this game and making this a live service game, right, under one structure and one staffing pyramid, and without this mix of unionization in the mix.
Yep.
And now that calculus has changed.
Yep.
So it just makes it I don't know what the plan is and how much the plan has been disrupted and so on and so forth. I'm sorry. Go ahead, SloMo.
Oh no, you're good. My opinion on this, I don't know really what it means. All I know is that the game is still alive, unlike some other games that seem to be pretty promising, but no longer are being worked on or being developed. So I have never really had like a ton of confidence in this. Open world co-op game with like vehicles. Like I never have really cared about like either vehicle combat or vehicle. Like I'm okay with arcade racer, but like whenever it's always like games that seem to focus too much on vehicles is where I kind of like lose interest, and that's just a personal thing for me. It's not saying that's bad in overall, but like I'll use Cyberpunk as an example. I don't mind driving to the destination of my next mission, but the missions that I have noticed that I tend to avoid whenever I'm playing Cyberpunk are the missions that have to do with vehicles. The Delamain missions where you gotta like help him get his AI children vehicles back. I kind of think that's one of the worst missions in the entire game, so I avoid them for the most part. The whole Fast and Furious subplot storyline they got going on there, I don't really care for it. It's not really like I don't care about these races, it's just not for me. And I understand other people may be like, oh yeah, I love those, but it's just not me. And so without actually seeing actual gameplay of Contraband to see what they're actually working with and what the actual game design is, I'm just not really interested. I just found it fascinating that somehow it survived the layoffs, but thank you, Logic, for revealing potentially a good reason for that is that they've got a union, and that's also something that we will get into with later on, because there's another situation about that in terms of a union that seems to be coming up as well. Anything else you guys want to say about this before we move on?
One thing I'll drop is I was excited about the premise of Contraband, because you've got the team that did the Just Cause series, and Just Cause 3 I thought was awesome.
Okay.
Got nominated for Action Game of the Year and Outstanding Technical Achievement categories for the DICE Awards in 2016. I played the game. It was a great engrossing game. I meant to mention this in an earlier conversation, but it's like one of those things where like you'd go and you'd stand on a hill. I think maybe Forte, you made me think about this when you mentioned, if you see it on the horizon, you can go there. You would go and you would stand on a hill and you would see this base like off in the distance, and you'd just be like, oh, that looks interesting. I think I'm just gonna go do an outpost takedown like on that thing and go over. And then you could glide there. You could use your grappling hook. You could parachute. You could steal a ground vehicle. You could steal an airplane, steal a helicopter. You could do all this stuff, and then you'd go do an outpost takedown. And we all know how much Game Logic loves outpost takedowns. And so I thought it was great. So the premise of Contraband to me was super exciting. It has waned on the vine though over these years and what's going on now. Not quite withered, but just like we've been saying, like my hopes and expectations for the game aren't great right now. I'm sorry, SloMo, go ahead.
No, you're good. We could move on to this next game, and yeah, let's do it. CDPR have released a new update to Cyberpunk 2077. This is update 2.3. Update 2.3 provides an auto drive mode, which is bugged. Oh man, it's bad. My very first attempt using it, I was out at the Aldecado's Nomad camp, and per their live stream, the red stream that they did yesterday, they said as long as you have a mission set, the auto drive will take you to that mission. let me tell you how somehow, some way, the auto drive had me just driving out into the desert for no reason. Then this message kept popping up saying, "Oh, there's nothing out here. You better turn back." And I'm like, "What?" And then it would just like respawn me, but it wouldn't respawn me like anywhere that was relevant. And then it just had me in this loop until I had to like find a way out of it after a good 15 minutes. So that was a bit annoying. And then the auto drive is also way too, look, I mean, if you play Cyberpunk, if you play GTA, like you're not obeying traffic laws. And I understand why it obeys traffic laws, but like I literally had a situation where a car had just stopped in the middle of the road for no reason. Just stopped. There's no other cars on the road. Just this one car stopped. And the auto drive would not go around it. And I'm just like, I had to just turn it off and just drive around the vehicle. I'm just like, I'm not doing auto drive no more. So auto drive sucks. They need to fix that. Anyway, they got new vehicles that look dope. They got new quests to get those vehicles specifically. And there's nothing like super story driven, but there are quests to get some of these new, like more high profile vehicles. They got new car paint jobs. They expanded the photo mode. The photo mode is even better now than it was before. They've improved HDR on PC with Intel HDR 10 Plus gaming support. They also improved HDR on consoles. They added VRR on consoles. And on PC, if you have a 90 series, 9000 series AMD GPU, so you have access to FSR4. You have support for that now, in addition to FSR 3.1 frame generation. And for Intel, they have the XeSS 2.0 update version for their upscaler, and their own frame gen is now included as well. They did insinuate that some of the rumors about their future plans, essentially around DLC, that some of those things may be true, but they weren't ready to confirm anything. But there you have it. Pretty big update, but nothing super. A lot of quality of life improvements, but nothing like a actual like new expansion to dig into. Forte, what are your thoughts about all that?
No, I mean, man, I need to jump into and play that game. When did they drop that update?
Today.
Yeah, because I didn't even look at any of the stuff. But the biggest thing that I noticed the most is they support, like, if you just even dismiss all the stuff that happened with development of the game and game not really being ready, not even really being ready, just not being ready at launch, they kind of put their heads down and fixed all the issues that people were having for the most part. And now you're starting to see them like kind of flesh with just all the extra content and stuff that they're actually just bringing to the game with, you know, quality of life changes and things like that, which I this is part of the reason why people kind of love CD Projekt Red, and the reason that, you know, they can kind of absorb a lot of the criticisms that they had over the course of just not only just the launch of Cyberpunk 2077, but just in general when it comes to some games, and people are willing to give them some leeway because they know that they're going to, you know, put a lot of effort into the games until they're 100% done with it. And that's still with them, a small team working on the next Witcher game. So, you know, there's going to be a lot more.
Let's reverse that. Witcher, the bulk of the studio now is working on the next Witcher game.
They are working on
this update is done by Virtuous, which is actually a developer that mostly a support studio developer, but they got like 3,000 employees. They actually went through layoffs this past week.
With 3,000 people.
They support a lot of games. They did the Oblivion remaster. They work on a lot of like porting games to like Switch, and they do a lot of stuff. They work on a lot of projects, but they also were working on the Metal Gear Delta game, and it looks like the devs that were working on that were laid off before that game releases. So pretty big support studio. Kind of reminds me of, what is the name of the studio? Sumo Digital, and it's a couple of them that do a lot of work like that, and they're like massive companies. But yeah, so they're the ones that work on this game directly now, with just basically a direction from CDPR, because they just don't have the bandwidth to work on Cyberpunk anymore. They got a skeleton crew working on Cyberpunk 2, and then they got the bulk of the studio working on Cyberpunk 4. But Logic, any thoughts about this?
So I'm going to answer your question with a question. I just want to know if you think this means CD Projekt Red is going to win Best Live Service Game of the Year category again at the TGAs.
Oh, I think they will be nominated. I think they'll be nominated, but I still don't think this game deserves to be considered. Actually, that title of that award is Best Ongoing Game, and I don't. Does this kind of qualify it as such now? Because like they just.
I was trying to trigger you because I thought we were still aligned. I don't think it does. I think that category should be live service game. You're putting out, right. You got season
what's
passes,
the description? What's the description of it? Yeah, because like I don't think, like, my big issue, and the reason why I was so triggered last year, is that they had Elden Ring in there and they had Phantom Liberty in there, and at the time, up into Phantom Liberty, all it was CDPR trying to get the game in a state where it was actually like what it should have been at launch. So I don't really think that's live, like a best ongoing game thing, because there was no new content until Phantom Liberty came out, which was 2 years later. And then you got Elden Ring, which also didn't have any new content until Shadow of the Erdtree came out, which was also 2 years later. So for me, it was just like, this doesn't raise to the level of an ongoing game. But then now they have a studio that they've contracted that specifically is doing regular updates on a seasonal basis. So every quarter, they have another big update that it may not add new content as far as like story content, but it's substantial things, better performance, quality of life things, like the game has added path tracing years ago, back in one of the first games that add path tracing that wasn't there at launch. So there's like, if any single player game that isn't live service can be even considered close, I think it would be this game, simply because of the level of work that goes into consistent improvement. And even though they at one point said we're done working on this game, I think they were kind of being cheeky, and because technically they are done working on the game and someone else is doing it. But the fact that they have consistently put that kind of work in, it is to be commended, but I don't think it deserves to win an award off against other games and studios that are really making actual content on a quarterly basis. Like Fortnite should probably win every year, honestly. But when but your Fortnites, your Rocket League, your Fall Guys, stuff like that, like those games need to be in that category all the time, because that's what they're designed around. They're ongoing games. There isn't intended to be a sequel. This is it. And so yeah.
And that's where and how they're held accountable too, right? Like Destiny 2 can, and I know you're not going to agree, but I'm just going to say it for instance, Destiny 2 can do 75% of the year right. But if they put out a bad season or a bad content drop for one of those 6-week periods, they're held accountable for that. right? And that's not the same as like what's crazy to me is like CD Projekt Red literally stunk up the place like a rotten egg for like 2 years. They put out Phantom Liberty and All's Forgiven, and they win Best Ongoing Game. So Best Ongoing Game is awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Last year, who you had in the category was Helldivers 2, Fortnite, Final Fantasy 14, Diablo 4, Destiny 2. Those to me are all legit, right? Because of the way they go about delivering content. The year that it won, I can't see the nominees anymore. The year that it won... I had it here for a second. Oh, no, I've got it.
Shadow of the Earth Tree. I don't think Phantom Liberty won. Phantom Liberty may have won. I know it was nominated for like Best Story.
Yeah, it was in.
I don't think it won Best Story. But for Best Ongoing Game, I think it was Shadow of the Earth Tree that won that. And that pissed me off because I was just like, this is not an ongoing game. Like, literally, they haven't dropped anything except nerfs in Elden Ring up until the release of it. So it's just the release of the expansion. Like that's not like that's like so loosely like related to an ongoing game that like, I mean, why not have any game that has a expansion or DLC added considered an ongoing game? Or it's just not like no one describes these games in that way, you know. And when you're working on a sequel, then you're not an ongoing game, in my opinion.
Right. So the year that it won, 2023, Best Ongoing Game, the other nominees were Apex. That Cyberpunk won. The other nominees were Apex Legends.
Cyberpunk did win.
Yes, but it did win Best.
Oh
Ongoing
wow.
Game.
I don't agree with that. Yeah.
And the other nominees were Apex Legends, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact.
Here's the part on the Jumbotron. Look at this. This car is just stopped in the road, and the auto drive is just like, yeah, I'm not gonna go around. Like, I just like turned it off and just went around. Like, please fix that, CDPR or Virtuous, whoever's working on it. Just fix that. That was ridiculous. Yeah, I just kind of, I'm at the point where I appreciate the level of support they put into the game, because somehow I can't stop playing it. I keep coming up with different builds and different ways to play it and beat it. But maybe there needs to be a new category added to these award shows that kind of gives some kind of credit to studios who put this much work in. And I think Hello Games could be added into that too, right? Because like the way No Man's Sky began to where it is now is such a dramatic improvement. But at the same time, they were very much in the same position that CDPR was in. They said a lot of things, and they didn't deliver on very many of them at launch. But then over time, they were able to add those things and really gain the respect of the overall gaming community back as they continue to deliver. And I think that very much the same situation that these guys are in, but it's just kind of preferable that you actually have all that stuff in launch.
and I don't think it's kind of criminal, right? Based on that, I don't think No Man's Sky has ever won an award for anything.
No, it's been nominated a lot, but I don't think it's won anything. Okay, anything else you want to say about this before we move on? You or Forte?
Nope, that's it.
Alrighty.
Oh, really? Oh,
really? And I'll just slow up before you move. Just really quick question. So I am wrong. They have things. They do have things that they've won. And I didn't think they had been nominated for it, but they have been nominated for some. They actually got nominated at DICE Awards and some other stuff. But just mention that before we go on and let that mistake stand. Sorry.
No problem. Let's see. I'm going to combine these all into one because they're kind of all similar. So this is all about video games that are having adaptations into other media. We talked a few weeks ago about how Cyberpunk Edge Runners is getting a second season or a sequel to that series, which was fantastic. If you haven't seen it, definitely go watch that. It's well worth it. But now we also have Nintendo has come out and announced they've cast both Zelda, Princess Zelda, and Link for their live action adaptation of Legend of Zelda, which is going to be a movie. Both actors are largely unknown and very young, which is kind of makes sense considering if things go well, you probably want to do a sequel. And if it's live service, then not live service, sorry, live action, you want actors that look young and will for at least give you 2 or 3 movies without them looking like they're like middle-aged soccer moms and got dad bods, right? So these actors, the young lady who is playing Zelda is Bo Bragason. Looks like she's done some work on Disney Plus and some of their content. And then the kid that's playing Link is Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. I've never heard of him before, but he looked like he was fairly young, like 16, 17 years old. So they can grow into those roles. Additionally, we also have Ubisoft working with Netflix, and they are doing adaptations, one live service and one animated, of Assassin's Creed and Splinter Cell. So the Splinter Cell one would be animated, the Assassin's Creed one would be live action. And the no real details I saw for the Splinter Cell one, but the Assassin's Creed one will be created by Roberto Patina, who worked on Westworld and Sons of Anarchy. And everyone be mature here. David Weiner. His last name's Weiner.
No, I can't.
And okay, but you probably be even less mature when you realize what he worked on. Now, the first thing that he's known for is The Killing, which is an excellent TV show. It's great. It's really, really good. But the other thing is the Halo TV show, so you're probably not going to be very happy with that. But on the right side, if the Splinter Cell animated show goes well, maybe that will convince Ubisoft to actually make a freaking Splinter Cell game. Who knows? Forte, what are your thoughts on the? Oh, I'm sorry. And then also the last thing, WB released a Mortal Kombat 2 trailer. The first movie was dumpster juice. It was probably one of the worst video game adaptation movies ever. But this one's got Carl Urban in it, playing an older Johnny Cage. And I looked at the trailer. There's 2 trailers. They had a trailer of just Johnny Cage. Then I saw like doing stuff. And then I saw another trailer of like the official trailer. And it looked like Johnny Cage is the main character now. So I don't know how that's going to turn out. Forte, what are your thoughts on all that?
I don't know if I care.
About any of it?
Why you sound like that?
Because how do you not care about literally 4 different movies based off of video games? Like, you don't care about any of it.
Because have they been good?
That does not mean that these aren't. That there have been some good ones. There have been some bad ones. The Super Mario Brothers movie was good. Some of the Sonic movies are pretty good. It's not a guaranteed failure because they're video game adaptations. Edge Runners is fantastic. It's just all about like
that's an anime. Oh, that's anime. It's not a movie.
But some of the stuff I mentioned are TV shows that aren't movies, and some of them are animated.
Yeah, those are the ones that usually do. No, and those are the ones that do pretty decent. Like the Sonic ones, I think do pretty well. They did pretty well.
Okay, so you think the Splinter Cell animated series is going to do good?
I actually have. See, the thing about animated series, I actually think that's going to do well, just due to the fact that with it being animated, they don't really have to hold back anything. It's like, it's no real restrictions or anything like that outside of what Tom Clancy allows them to be able to do with the name of the game. So I mean, I'm just kind of pulling your chain. I think it's really, really cool to we are starting to see a lot better adaptations of video games over to movies, over to animes. Like you said, Edge Runners and stuff was really good. I really enjoy all 3 Sonic movies and stuff so far. Not looking forward to what's the name, the dude that worked on the Halo did he work on the last couple of episodes of the Halo TV show? Because I just
saw that he worked on the Halo TV show. I didn't look at it in detail,
how
although
much he
I can check him out.
Okay,
yeah, like if he worked, because it had its cool moments. Like some of the battles were well done, directed and choreographed. So if he worked on some of the good stuff, then great. If he worked on the Master Cheeks episode, then we're gonna have a problem.
Or the Decision and Covenants having whatever. But
he was a producer in 8 episodes. He did
season 1 or season 2.
Season 2.
Oh, okay. That's a plus. Is it?
I mean, season 2 was better than season
2.
Well, how many episodes is in season 2? Because he's got 8 episodes, and it's like
I think that's the majority of
1 through 8.
Oh, so that's all of them, I think. So he's on basically season 2. I don't know.
I mean,
man.
I didn't care for season 2 that much. I kind of felt like they found. So season 1 was Cheeks, and not Master's Cheeks, but like Master Chief's Cheeks, but just Cheeks, like because it was bad.
Dude, that dude was in a firefight with no helmet on, acting like he was invincible.
Yeah, killing me with like how they just let the actor get away with that. But what I don't like is when there is they're writing around the limitations of their budget.
Yeah.
So for example, it's like in season 2 of Halo, all the Spartans are without their armor for like the majority of the season. Probably more than 2/3 of the season, they don't have armor on.
They don't get into episode 6, I don't think.
They had them in the first episode, and then they lose them in like the second or third. But then they get them back like at the end, and it's like that's a way to limit like the special effects budget.
Yep.
And so and I know this because this is what the CW used to do to all their DC, superhero shows. They would always find ways to like depower a hero or knock them out of a fight or find some way to keep them distracted or whatever, so that they could keep the budget down. And it just seems like low budget studio platform nonsense of like we're limiting the material in order to provide content without having to break the bank. And it's just like, if you're not going to do this correctly, why bother? This is why I love HBO, because HBO, it seems like the budget don't matter. Like for Game of Thrones, each episode was like the budget of most movies. Yeah. And it was worth it when you put that kind of effort in and you see the level of quality that it brings. People appreciate that. We're not stupid. When you are finding dumb reasons to keep Spartans out of armor, we know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to pay to have, these awesome battles happening. You got 2 or 3 big set pieces per season, and then you work around those. That's just unfortunate. And so when it comes to bring it back to Assassin's Creed, yes, the budget's probably not going to be it's not a sci-fi thing, so more than likely it's not going to cost as much money. But then I still don't want you to skimp. Like, I still want you to have great locales, really have great like atmosphere and sets. I want the combat to feel and look like the stealth to look like Assassin's Creed. you still got to deliver on all that stuff. And I mean, one producer has delivered. This other guy, I don't know. So, yeah, the other dude who did Westworld and Sons of Anarchy, he's good with his. Westworld may have fell off after the first season, but as far as cinematography goes and budget, like, it was fantastic. And Sons of Anarchy, you know, a lot of people love that show. I never really got into it, but I understand the reputation that it has. Anything else? Any thoughts about the Zelda movie?
No. What's that? Zelda movie. We'll see. I don't have any. You know, the Zelda movie, I probably do have a little more faith just due to how the Mario movie kind of played itself out. But, you know, that's my favorite franchise in Nintendo. So until I see it, I'm all skeptical, super skeptical about how they can portray, you know, Link, Zelda, that whole Hyrule. And my biggest thing is I don't want them to Mario-fy it, you know, because it's a different tone, different atmosphere and everything when it comes to the Zelda franchise. So I'm interested and want to see how they do it. I'm just very, you know how it is when it's something you love, is like, like, are you really going to do this justice? Just like, I know. Would
you have preferred they did Zelda, Legend of Zelda animated instead of live action?
Yes, because the thing about Zelda, it's not sci-fi or anything like that, but it's like more the Lord of the Rings side of it, just, you know, more Lord of the Ringsy than it is anything else. Whereas like Mario, yeah, it takes place in the Mushroom Kingdom, but it's two plumbers and a princess, and the only thing that was kind of out of the ordinary is when it comes to, like, you know, Bowser and the Koopa Troops and stuff like that, and the Toads, which they did a really, really good job in merging those two fantasies together. So I just don't know. I mean, I know they can do it in live action. I just don't know what it's going to look like. And I'm just kind of not worried, but have more anxiety around seeing something like that, you know. But I'm willing to give it a try because they got a lot of goodwill out of the Mario movie. So, and I don't think Nintendo's going to put something out that is going to kind of like really disappoint people, because we see how very protective of their IPs they are, and especially something like Zelda that has become one of their bigger franchises. Like, people don't realize Zelda didn't sell as much as it sold until Breath of the Wild came out, and then Tears of the Kingdom. So they're sitting on two of the highest selling Zelda games of all time in recent history, and those are the first two that did it. So that franchise is not going to be any hotter than it is right now, and I don't think they want to kind of lose that momentum, especially if they, you know, especially with them continually going in the direction they are with, you know, new consoles and everything. So it will be in their best interest anyways to make sure that they put out the best version of it. And if they felt like live service is the way to do it, I'm not going to be mad at them. I'm just
live action, you mean?
Oh yeah, not live service. Yeah, live action. I'm just going to take a wait and see approach, but I'm definitely interested in them doing it though and seeing what it looks like.
I mean, I could see them going to like New Zealand or Ireland to shoot this, because a lot of big budget fantasy setting or medieval setting kind of content goes to those locations. For like New Zealand for the landscapes and the mountains and like the like green hills kind of look to it. Ireland for, like, you know, the coastlines and ancient ruins and stuff like that. Like it kind of fits for those locations and kind of bringing that feel. I think I've never seen the Zelda and Link actors act. They have the look for it, you know, despite all the controversy and online and people being idiots expecting Nintendo to be controversial in their castings for their favorite actor. You know, it's not going to happen. Do you just not know who Nintendo is? Like, come on. But I think if these actors are really like good and they just need the opportunity to really show who they are, then it could work. I just kind of feel like you probably could have gone animated, and then you could have did so much more, you know, as far as in terms of like your imagination, you know, as far as like having more fantastical creatures, having more dynamic fights and battles, and destruction, that kind of thing. There's like only so much you can do in live action, but in animation, you can really just whatever your imagination is really what the limit is, especially if you have the budget to kind of put that in.
Right. I agree with that.
Logic, what are your thoughts on this? Anything that you are excited about? Anything you feel is probably not going to be great?
Look, I was with Forte, first of all, when he said, I don't care. I don't want to be bothered with any of this unless Ron Moore is doing the series, and so I'm interested in the God of War TV show or whatever.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah,
but most of these I'm not. Like, I just don't. It's interesting. It's a pop culture thing. I mean, you go back like 20 years ago. Like, yeah, I was interested to see video game like movies come to like the big screen. And I don't know whether it's a matter of like so many of them are coming now that I just kind of shrug my shoulders. Like when the 90s Mortal Kombat hit, and it was like the first, and I'm not saying that original Mortal Kombat movie was great, but it was kind of the first video game movie that ever like crossed the threshold to being acceptable.
Yeah.
And so now, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just that I feel like now it's like not challenging, or like it's just old hat, or like it's just common, it's basic, as the kids say. Like, I don't know. Like, and I think that the MCU paved the way a lot for these things, and like the visual effects, and like just that whole notion of like the pop culture kind of, I'll call it the metaverseness of it, right? So I don't, yeah. And I haven't watched any of them. I haven't watched the Halo series. I haven't watched T-Lu series. I definitely haven't watched like the anime, like League of Legends stuff, because I don't play those games. So like, I'm not really interested in the TV shows. So it's just interesting. You
guys are so jaded. Oh my God. Both of you just like, I don't care.
I mean, what do you want us to say? I mean, it's not like it takes a lot to like excite
right.
people.
Thank you. The guys, see the sharpshooters in the chat are hitting y'all with some hits here. Arcane, awesome. Watch Arcane. If you haven't seen Arcane, you need to see Arcane.
So here's my real thing. I think I just struck on it. It's if the God of, like, if there was a if God of War 2018 had hit, and then there was a show, right? And then God of War Ragnarok hit, that would be a thing. Because then I would feel like, okay, well, watching the show somehow like expands on my experience of playing the game. But like when these games have been done and now these things are coming along, like I just don't feel like they enhance my experience or increase like my relationship with video games. Okay.
Edge Runners enhances the experience of the game. It's a story that takes place a year before the events of the actual game take place. So it's relevant to the story. It's relevant to what's happening, gives you further context and lore to the things that are going on in Night City as you're playing the game. And they tied it into the game somewhat with some characters appearing, not really appearing, but you kind of interacting with them through messages and just, background lore to the story. So it's not all just
you're a Cyberpunk stan, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's still accurate. It's still accurate. But it's not like I'm lying about it.
No. I'm saying it's valid. I mean, it's very valid and pertinent to you because you're a Cyberpunk stan. I'm not. Here's a good one. If an Expedition 33 TV show came out, right, that somehow like went beyond the game that we played,
they're actually working on something.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll be there. And even
I think
honestly,
I saw something that like a studio contacted Sandfall to
they did. They signed a deal.
Work out something.
Yeah, they signed a deal.
Oh yeah. Who do you know who they signed with?
I don't remember. I don't remember who it was. I'm sure I'll look it up, or I'm certain somebody will. And quite honestly, even if that's just a retelling of the movie that really kind of tries to make canon out of like the 99 different multiple choices you can take in that game, I'll be there.
Yeah,
I'll absolutely be part of that. But like some of the things, like Halo was a big thing for me. Yes, I'm replaying the campaign now, but like I'm not a Halo stan like I was.
It's
back
being they signed with Story Kitchen, who was a production company that co-produced the Sonic the Hedgehog films. So it's not bad. I mean, they've been delivering as far as quality goes with those Sonic films, even though Sonic sucks. I mean, it's kind of hard making that work. But
yeah, I'll be. If something hits for me, I'll be there. Just the others, the stuff that's just on the plate right now, like it's either the IP is just too faded for me personally. Like I'm not a big Fallout stan today.
Yeah, right? But that Fallout TV show was perfect. It was perfect because it didn't actually have it like it was able to be a part of the universe and enhance it without actually invalidating anything that's happened in any of the games, because it's from a vault that we hadn't seen before. It's from characters that are new, yet they could be canon to the Fallout universe without also invalidating anything. And so like I think the way they went about the Fallout TV series was perfect, in that it was able to feel authentic to the game and how it looked. I mean, the music was spot on, the look of the vault spot on, just the depiction of the factions and all that stuff, great. And I'm not even a Fallout fan, and I was just like, yo, this makes me kind of want to play Fallout. And I thought that was one of the better adaptations to a video game series, because it increased the attention and popularity of the series so much that now Microsoft is now commissioned like 5,000 Fallout games to be made off of it. I think you guys are being, and I will borrow Gregor's comment in the chat, grumpy old men. You grumpy old men need to watch some TV shows and some movies. Before you come back on here, like, I want you to watch Arcane.
Oh no!
Yes.
Look, I'm not Forte. You're not shaming me into doing stuff that I don't want to do.
But I am doing you a favor, sir. This would be doing you a favor. You would watch Arcane and be like, oh man, I missed out. I missed out for a while. Or Edge Runners. Edge Runners is fantastic.
Is Arcane the League of Legends thing?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Probably some of the best animation you've ever seen. But it's very, very well done. And I like that they put a bow on it on the second season. It's only going to do 2 seasons, and they're not done making League of Legends adaptations, but that particular story with those characters is over. But it was extremely well done. Like, you guys are missing out. I mean, this is quality content. You guys are just poo-pooing.
I'll watch 2 episodes for you, SloMo. Like every screen is an Xbox, right? So I'll pick a screen. I'll watch it on my smallest mobile phone that I have available, and then we can talk about it.
Oh my god!
Just to check the box for you. I'm not saying they're bad TV shows. I am absolutely certain they're good TV shows. They're just not a thing that like twiggles my widgets. You know what I'm saying?
Twiggles my widgets. That is a new one.
That's a good one.
Oh man. Okay, so last thing before we Actually, two more rapid fire topics. So let me try to run through these because we're definitely on musket fire time at the moment. So let's do this. Donkey Kong Bonanza released today or yesterday, one of those. Well, at least the today. Okay, so the reviews came out yesterday. It's a 91 on Metacritic with, when I last checked, 83 reviews. Has either of you played it yet? And do you agree that it is a Game of the Year contender?
I will go first. I played the first, probably like an hour and a half of it today. I picked it up this morning. My wife was at the doctor's appointment, so I didn't get a chance to watch her play it yet, but she's upstairs playing it right now, and she's up there having a ball. I think it's really, really good, bro. Like, just a little bit I played of it, like, it gives you like Mario Odyssey vibes and stuff with the way that they built the game. Like, you could pretty much go where you see and stuff like that. I think the controls are really, really good. The performance is really good, and I think that I wasn't expecting this game. Like, I never usually let a review, because I saw IGN's review gave it a 10 out of 10, and I was like, holy crap. IGN gave it, I was like, they only gave it how many, I forget how many 10s they given out in like the last decade.
IGN mostly gives everything a 7.
Yeah, like I think they gave Breath of the Wild a 10. They gave Elden Ring a 10. I don't think they gave Tears of the Kingdom a 10. I think that got like a 9.7. So this will be like the third 10 in like a decade that I've known they've done. So that kind of perked my ears a little bit, because I was like, yo, IGN gave it what? So I actually, instead of being a person that was just going to go in and like just watch my wife play it, I said, let me play this game for myself and see what it's like. And I'm actually enjoying it. Like I said, I only played like an hour and a half of it, because I had to instantly turn it over to my wife, because she was the one that, you know, allowed me to buy the Switch to be able to get this, because she saw Mario, she saw that it was a Donkey Kong coming. So, but I enjoyed it so far when I played, and it's not really the fact that I think it deserves to be Game of the Year, because I haven't played enough of it to see it, but this is most likely going to be the highest rated game by Nintendo this year, and we already know that they're going to have a seat at the table no matter what for the most part, unless something else, and they do release like Metroid this year, and that gets a really good score. I can see this being a game that, you know, just on review alone, you know, is represented by them, and it seems like a lot of the different outlets like it too.
Okay. Logic, any thoughts on this? You think have you played it, and or do you think this is going to be a Game of the Year contender?
Man, they bought no Switch 2.
What?
I'm just messing around. I'm just messing around. I like how he just said, I can't. So what did you say?
Man, I love it. I was starting to load the revolver already.
I love it. I love that. He's like, what? Oh, really?
Out of dry. I haven't played it yet. I haven't. I've been trudging through a bunch of games. Today was a busy day. I haven't had a chance to get over to my Switch 2 and start the download yet. But I will be getting on it. I also have another game that is clogging up my windshield too, because I do want to get over and start playing Eric's Home on PC as well.
Eric's Home. What is that?
That is an indie title that has been shown at the Future Game Show for the last 2 years. It's pretty stunning. Eric's Home: The Stolen Dream. Pretty stunning visual
That
style.
does sound familiar now that you said the full name. I can't remember where I saw that.
Very story driven. It's been super impressive the last 2 times in the show. That's not the question you asked, but I haven't started Donkey Kong yet. I want to start Donkey Kong, but I also want to get started playing Eric's Home as well. So I will be getting that started, but it's going to be, I'll be chipping away at it, because I'll be continuing to play other stuff in my backlog, and also trying to get on this new thing too. Indie title, which I think it's important to get out and support those.
Yes.
Cool. As you guys know, If there's no Fire Emblem, I'm not getting the Switch too, so I haven't played it. So yeah, go ahead, bye.
My only other comment, I agree with Forte. Everything that I've heard and the trends that we've seen at the Game Awards for the last 2 years, and in that I'm only saying the Game Awards. I haven't extrapolated that to the other 4 of the big 5 award shows. Yeah, I assume that this game will be in the discussion.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it will, because they always make sure that at least one Nintendo game is in there. So I do believe there will be one Nintendo game in that discussion, and this will probably be it. You know, I don't think, despite the popularity of it, that Mario Kart World will be in that discussion. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know, but it just seems like people seem to not be going gaga over that one, but they are kind of going crazy over this one.
Because Mario Kart's pretty much Mario Kart, and it's nothing wrong with a game just being what it actually is. It's outside of you doing the open world stuff in Mario Kart, which is more of a vehicle of learning like different routes and shortcuts and stuff like that, and being able to just explore. You're playing Mario Kart 8, just better performance, better frame rate, better performance, overall better graphics and stuff, more customizations and costumes and stuff like that. So it's a really solid game. It's just not a game that if you played hundreds of hours of Mario Kart 8, you're going to be like, well, I'm glad it came with my Switch 2, so I didn't really have to buy it. So where this is actually a game that, you know, is something different. It's not like the traditional side-scrolling Donkey Kongs that you played before. That's why I say the biggest thing that I realized is just playing it reminds me more of Odyssey than anything, because of the way it plays and portrays it.
That's fine. I think we're going to have a very, very competitive Game of the Year conversation.
Are we?
This year. Oh yeah, I think
Clear
there's
Obscure?
a lot of Clear Obscure is up there. Yeah, I think it's the front runner. It is the leading game as of now, but I think it does have some competition from you know, Death Stranding 2, Split Fiction, this Donkey Kong game, potentially Metroid Prime 4 when that comes out later this year, right? You know, there's a lot to really kind of, you know, dig in on. I know that there's some people that might think that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 deserves to be a part of the conversation. So, and potentially Ghost of Yotai as well later this year. So yeah, this year's been really, really good on content. You know, the people who say there's never anything to play, I don't know what's wrong with y'all. I don't know what y'all do.
I was told this generation is mid. So
this generation isn't mid. There's just mid gamers.
and Clair Obscur, I mean, as much as I love Clair Obscur, I mean, I think I've gone over the edge of the cliff to just saying that game is now my favorite video game ever. It did come out relatively early in the year, right, compared to some of the things that are coming behind it. You know, Death Stranding comes out after, DK Bonanza comes out after. You got big stuff coming out for holiday season. So yeah, it's gonna be rough.
Yep. And on to our final rapid fire topic. Got some bad news, y'all.
Oh no.
Got some bad news. So 1047 Games. Yeah, Splitgate 2 is not trending well at the moment. On Steam, it has lost 90% of its player base since launch. And whether that is due to the game itself or some other the comments and bad publicity that their CEO has been garnering for his comments. Either way, the game has not been trending well. I would say, I don't think Forte, I don't think you've ever played this game. And I think Logic, maybe you've played a little bit of it, but I've played the first game extensively, and I've played some of the second game. I think I look at the popularity of the title and how in both instances the game started off really strong and then tapered off fairly quickly, and I kind of like I noticed this for the first game as well. And I think back then I kind of was like, well, maybe it had a lot to do with the fact that they had server issues and they weren't really prepared for the amount of success that they garnered, and all the attention that they got. Like, people couldn't get into the matches, couldn't even log in for like over 40 minutes at one point when it launched on consoles, because it was so many people trying to play the game. And I think that, you know, this launching the way it did and then losing players this quickly, I almost kind of wonder if it's just the skill gap. Like, because like I've seen players do this thing where they go, well, the game's too easy. And I'm like, all right, well, how long did you play the game? And they're like, I played like 5 matches. I'm like, bro.
He said, bro.
Come on, buddy. 5 matches is nothing. like my very first match, I had like 81 kills, and I'm not even exaggerating. I screenshotted it. I put it up on Twitter and Blue Sky. I was like, this is my first match. I have like 81 kills. It's ridiculous. By my 10th match, I was fighting for my life with these night crawlers, as I call them, because they just teleport around the map using the portals. And like, anyone that says, "Oh, the game is just too easy," all right, well, that's why I asked them, like, how much time you put in, how many matches have you done? And I think that like the portal aspect of it is unique, but not everything unique is going to resonate with people. And so that aspect of it, I wonder if this is just too different for the gaming market as it is right now. Logic, have you played this at all?
I haven't, no.
Okay. And Forte, you haven't as well, right?
I haven't. You can tell us. You can tell us what's so good about it, though, or what you like about it.
The gunplay's pretty good. I actually think the gunplay they made some changes to it, even though they try to deny they did. They made some changes to the gunplay. It's still good. It's not as good as the first game. I think that the map design is the maps are very good, very well done. And I think that might be shout out to you know, some of the people I know that worked on the maps, like Blaze Dillon, who worked on maps in the first game, worked on maps for Halo, and has also worked on, I think, Apex Legends as well. You know, they got really talented people in that regard. I still think the character designs are not the best. They're better, but they went the whole factions, like nameless factions route, which doesn't have any personality. And I think that was a detriment to what XDefiant had, and also a detriment to this game as well. I mean, it's better, like the characters models aren't hideous like in the first game, but they're just not enough. I think nowadays when it comes to live service, you either need to have some kind of licensed IP that can get people's attention, or you really gotta come up with some, sorry to say this, either some really cool, badass looking male characters or some really sexy female characters. It's just, you may dislike it, and I'm not telling you that you have to like it, but you need to understand the way the market works. What are the most successful live service games right now that have come out recently? Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals out here got Emma Frost thighs looking like she not a white woman, okay? She looking like look, I'm just saying, like they know what they're doing, and sex appeal is what they're selling, in addition to the game actually being a solid hero shooter. The First Descendant has some traction for like a good 3, 4, 5, 6 months. That gameplay loop's terrible. Absolutely terrible. But why do people stick around? You know why they stuck around. We all know why they stuck around for as long as they did. You know, like you have to have two things when it comes to these live service games. You have to have the cool factor of the characters that you have in it, and you have to have absolutely rock solid gameplay. And I think that like Splitgate 2 has almost the latter and not enough of the former to really truly be successful. But I do hope the studio is able to like keep it going, turn it around, because I don't want to see this game like fail. I haven't played it in a little while, but I don't know what it is with me right now. I mean, I haven't been playing Call of Duty. I haven't played this Splitgate 2 a whole lot. I can't think of a single real shooter that I'm playing right now. Fortnite, in my opinion, kind of doesn't count. But I'm only playing like this limited time mode in Fortnite, the Blitz Royale. When that's gone at the end of the month, I have no desire to play more Fortnite as of now. So maybe I'm just on my like, and I blame Expedition 33 for this, because I was heavy on Call of Duty.
You were
heavy. I was so excited for the Splitgate game. I was all in, and then I played Expedition. I played this awesome RPG, and I didn't play Call of Duty for like 2 months. And I tried to get into Splitgate, but I just don't have the desire to really go there like that. And yeah, I mean, like I'm playing 2 different RPGs out, you know, after Splitgate 2. Like I started 100 Line Defense Academy. I started that, and I started Dark Deity 2. Like I'm just on my RPG kick right now. So I don't know, man. It's just you're gonna have to. My advice, as someone who plays a ton of live service games and doesn't mind spending money in them when I feel the game deserves it, again, you better have some rock solid gameplay that's unique and different, but not so different that people can't recognize it, but definitely differentiates itself from the other competition that's out there. Like Marvel Rivals stole a lot of its game design from Overwatch, but it's in third person perspective and they got Marvel heroes. You know, like you need to have 2 of those things. You need to have those 2 things to be successful. And I will probably also say you need to throw away any idea of charging people up front. You need to be free to play. Just there's a lot of people who just won't even give you a shot if they feel if your competition in this genre that you're in, whether it be extraction shooters, hero shooters, arena shooters, whatever. If everything else is free and you're charging up front to play that, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot. So that's all my opinion on anything you guys want to say before we get into these main topics.
That's wild, bro.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything.
Alrighty. Main topics on deck now. Let's get this changed up. First main topic on board is changes at Ubisoft. And so right now we have some organizational changes with the new subsidiary that Ubisoft has created for their more popular IP. And we see some familiar last names with this crap. I forgot to get into. Matter of fact, I know. Okay, let me do this. Let me see. Let me just add this as one more rapid fire. Zenamax union. Zenamax's union is fighting to keep some of their unionized staff from losing their jobs. These are people who were working on the canceled MMORPG codenamed Project Blackbird that apparently Phil Spencer couldn't stop playing, but they still canceled the game that Zenamax Online was developing. According to the union, They said this. They said where Microsoft has failed to support the talented craftspeople who have generated billions in revenue, our union has stepped up to provide clarity and support. It is true that a layoff may be in the future for some of our members. However, as a result of our organizing, we are able to ensure that those impacted will be able to depart with dignity. So this isn't guaranteeing, as they said, that these people will not get laid off, but like the process of laying them off isn't going to be as straightforward as it is for people who are not unionized. So I know this is something that you are pretty invested in as far as like the goings of it with like unions and gaming. Logic, what were your thoughts on that?
Does leaving with dignity? Does leaving with dignity mean leaving with money?
Oh,
because I don't need no damn dignity.
I don't know. I don't think so. You know, like, hey, you know, some people, when it comes to money, they don't come with dignity.
I don't need your dignity. I don't need your dignity. Look, hand me bundles of cash in a paper bag. I need to get paid. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I need to cover my rent.
I need to cover.
But yeah, I mean, so yes, I've been on record as being a person who pushed back when people said a benefit of the acquisition is that these employees will be better taken care of, and we're going to see bonga unionization, you know, right off the bat. And I tried to explain to people that's not what's going to happen. One of the statistics that I pulled together over the last week is that at this point, Microsoft has laid more people off out of the Xbox division than the total number of people who have unionized. And so they've laid off about 4,000 plus people out of the Xbox division since the acquisition closed. About just north of, I think, 1,500 people maybe have unionized. I think the number might be smaller than that. So, but what I will say is, like, thank goodness at least those people unionized, right? You know, they'll, you know, this isn't going to keep them safe potentially. I mean, it's not. Unions, and this is a big fallacy, I think, of misunderstanding too, is unions don't necessarily protect jobs. They do provide a braking mechanism, just because when corporations spool up to do layoffs, they know that there's an aftermath to that, and they know they have to go about it a certain way, right? And so it provides a layer of maybe them needing to do some additional due diligence, making sure that there's full explainability behind who they picked and chose. But it doesn't protect your job. It can soften the landing, right? It can have the union intervene on your behalf so that you get a better thing out of it than just the straight up severance package you were going to be offered. But as you're seeing now, that typically comes after the fact, right? That happens like after the thing is already done to you, and then they try and then they make their effort to intervene in cases. So, I mean, but it's better than nothing, right? It's better than zero for a lot of people. And so at least there's that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that. Forte, any thoughts on this?
We already know, man. Failing upward in a positive trajectory is how this all goes down. But you know, do we expect it? But this is the thing, though. Do we expect anything different once we heard this? Was it shocking to you?
No, I wouldn't say it was shocking.
No, it's kind of just par for the course at this point now, and you know, it's just you stay at a job, you stay somewhere long enough. They always tell you stay somewhere long enough, you reap the rewards of everything you did there. That happens on the good and the bad. Sometimes you get to fall with that parachute, and that parachute won't let you hit the ground for a very long time. So,
well, this is the worrisome thing, right? At the studios where this has happened, is that the natural penchant, right, is for the people who are left, for them to be nervous.
Yep.
Right? Is it over? Is there another wave coming? What is my job? And this is I've tried to was engaged in a, I'll call it vigorous discussion earlier today about some differing perspectives on the way employees feel. My commentary is on having lived through this at a large Fortune 500 corporation and really cutting my teeth as a manager on how do layoffs go down? What are the decisions that get made behind them? Like, what does it look like behind the veil? But then also, like, I hate to say it, but thank goodness, right? Having that insider information and that feeding into my own decisions of what I was doing, right? And the fact of the matter is that once you get into like the third, fourth, fifth layoff, what starts happening is people, high performers, start saying, okay, at this stage, I don't know, right, whether or not, despite the fact that I'm performing well, I don't know if I'm going to hit criteria that say I need to be gone, right? Because now it's not performance. Now it's not necessarily who's working hardest, right? Now it's bad things happening to good people.
Yeah.
I went through this on my own career, right? I went and had a very direct talk with my boss, and I said, look, round 3, we had this discussion, and what you told me and what I understood was, hey, you're a generalist, you're very flexible, you learn quickly, you're willing to go do things that other people aren't willing to do, and we see that of value, right? So you're safe, right? But then when round 4, round 5 came, I was like, hey, I don't know that me being a generalist is necessarily the thing right now. And I think I need to go off and become like a specialist, right? And something to really anchor myself and secure my own job security here, right? So we had that discussion. And so when I did that, when I went off and got, an additional master's degree, like when it was all over, I was like, I'm still not feeling this right now, right? At that point, I had a software engineering degree. And then the word came down is, hey, your campus is no longer going to do new software development. If we're going to build a new system, that's going to be done elsewhere. And I'm like, ooh, yeah. Well, it was going to be done at a different campus within the corporation, right? So then I was faced with, I was married at that point. I had kids at that point. I was like, okay, so what you're saying is if I want to go do that work, I need to move somewhere else. And I was like, I don't know that I'm doing that, right, with my family. So I said, okay, we're now at the point now where even though I'm a high performer, even though I've got like these degrees and these skill sets, I'm still faced with uncertainty. So the decision I made was like, I'm not going to hang out and just wait for the axe to drop because I don't have control over it. And I wasn't the only person, right? I was part of a wave of defections, right? So this is, so you have employees who are left who have an uncertainty about their own retention and job security. You have people who are high performers they're not trapped. They have choices. They can go out in the market and get another job. Some of those people are going to elect to do that, right? Rather than wait around. All of that just creates a swirl of, where your overall performance as an organization, right, starts to become questionable because you've got good performers leaving. You have potentially more layoffs coming. And all of that creates this air of instability. Like who do you, as a manager, like, who do you appoint as leads of teams, right? When people are flight risks.
They're probably going to be appointing people who they feel are more loyal than necessarily like the best person for the role, considering the personnel that they have at that time. I agree wholeheartedly here about that. My company, for the first time, and I mean maybe I think like before I started working there, which was like 12 years ago, they had layoffs, and they haven't had any layoffs in 12 years. We've been pretty insulated from those kind of things that other people have dealt with. But for the first time in my tenure there, they had layoffs back in January, and it was a very demoralizing month for everyone that was still there. In addition to, just really devastating for the people that were laid off, but something that was important for me to something that was always on my mind. After that, and I had to speak to one of the directors on it. They were trying to be upbeat. We're doing this, we're doing that. We're focusing on other avenues that we didn't focus in as hard as we could before. we're going to be good. And I'm like, okay, that's great for the business. Are you going to do another layoff? Because for me, like, because now what I'm more concerned about is like, okay, so you kept like your better performers, cool, but if you're going to do another layoff, I need to that's going to impact the way everyone's working. That's going to impact whether people think they're going to survive the next one. You know, there's a lot going on there, and they could. The response I got back was, we can't guarantee there won't be another layoff, which to me tells me it's going to be another layoff at some point, especially if things don't, you know, improve with the market and the company. And so, long story short, I've seen it, how it affects everyone that's working. You know, some people kind of like lock in, you know, like they work a little harder, not simply because they're just trying to keep their jobs, but they just try to, it's a way of coping. They just remove all the noise. They come in, they get to work. You see them like they would socialize more before, but now it's just all business. And other people, they kind of shut down, you know, like I've seen people just go like, well, what's the point? and that kind of mentality just kind of breeds a problem that where it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy that if there are layoffs next, they're almost guaranteed to be the people who would be in that group that go. But it's just, you know, to kind of bring it back to the discussion with Zenamax, like, you know, you got some people who are kind of hanging out in limbo now, where they were working on Project Blackbird. That game gets canceled. They couldn't just be laid off because of the union, you know, the way everyone else was, but then they may not necessarily have a project to work on at the moment. So what are they doing exactly? Are they just showing up to work and just sitting at their desks, you know, tidying up their LinkedIn? Because if Zenamax doesn't have somewhere else to put them, you know, like it may not be as easy to remove them, but frankly, like you don't have work for them. So it's just a very difficult situation for both company, and when I say company, I mean Zenamax. I don't really give a damn about Microsoft, because this entire thing happened simply because of things that have nothing to do with the performance of the gaming division, period. So screw Microsoft as far as I'm concerned. But the people who work there, you know, like it's not easy for anyone who has been laid off and they're trying to figure out what their next move is, or the people who are still there wondering if they're going to be in the same boat another 6 months to a year from now. Go ahead, you were about to say something.
It's Zenamax Online Studios, right? So these are the people propping up ESO. You know, while definitely Xbox has live service games in its portfolio, like I don't know of any that like there's a big launch plan for, right? Where, you know, you guys would have someplace to go. And if you're a tester, right, and I don't know, but if they onboarded like a bunch of test people because there was going to be a game for them to test, I mean, once a game is launched in live service, you don't need as large of a test crew, right? So I don't know that they had done that ramp up for Project Blackbird or whatever, but you know, you potentially have people sitting around in functional roles that maybe, like you said, there's not a huge scope for, and the adding to the air of uncertainty is, let's, you know, totally disregard like the AI memo, right? But we know that there's been a concerted effort to move in this direction of outsourcing a lot of the work, right? Of keeping enough heads and core team people on board, but then having anything that can be, right, delegated out to a contractor workforce, right, to increase that mix. So I just think that adds to that air of, you know, they're being problematic about, you know, how people feel about, you know, their certainty of the future.
Yeah. let's get back into these the main topic that I tried to start and completely forgot about doing. So yeah, sorry. Ubisoft leadership announcement. This one is going to probably have a lot of people going, of course, this is how things went. But bear with me here. Ubisoft has announced that they have 2 co-CEOs that are running the new subsidiary that they announced back in March. And these people are Christoph Derenes. I tried. I don't know if that's accurate, but we'll go with that. Derenes has been with Ubisoft for over 35 years, most recently acting as managing director for Ubisoft North America. And the other is, huge shocker, Charlie Guillemot, who is the son to Yves Guillemot, the CEO of Ubisoft. And Charlie oversaw Ubisoft's a Ubisoft-owned studio called Owlent, which and apparently he had left the company, but he came back after some of their internal transformation initiatives went underway. Owlent pretty much works mostly in free-to-play games with that offer microtransactions, so might lend an idea to what they may be doing with the more popular IP that is within this new subsidiary's umbrella. And nepotism seems to never leave this company, but I don't want to automatically assume Charlie is just completely incapable of doing his job. Some people seem to believe that he's pretty capable or pretty competent as an executive. Forte, what are your thoughts on these 2 new appointments for co-CEOs for this new version, this new part of Ubisoft?
Just another step in. I don't want to say dissolving the current leadership. Once we saw that they, went into that partnership, I forget who it was with, where they
Tencent,
yeah. Once they went into that partnership, I mean, I remember when we were talking on that show, it's like this it ain't gonna be too long till this is basically just absorbed in by Tencent at some point because of the direction. Not saying that the direction with Ubisoft has been terrible when it comes to everything. It's just that there was a lot of stuff that kind of needed to be addressed, not only on just the game side, studio health, just the overall, functionality of the business, the bets that they made that didn't pan out over the course of the last 5 or 6 years. So it was only a matter of time until we saw some type of change like this. It's not a nori thing, just due to the fact that we also seen Sony go through a thing like this where they appointed 2 different people to be in line for structure that's going over SIE and everything. So this is just another instance of that. But I just think that this is just another step getting closer to, I don't think Ubisoft is going anywhere, but huge changes coming to the company and just the way that they go about their overall operations. Probably not anything on the game or development side, but just more of just, oversight is the biggest word I could say when it comes to how that all is going to be managed in the future. So I think it's a good move. I mean, it's something. I mean, Ubisoft has a rich tradition. I mean, they're one of the few publishers out there that have franchise, not just games, but franchises that people love, and people would like that, some of that stuff to come back. And I think some of the mismanagement of funds have kind of hindered that push in that direction. So I think this is going to be the start of either a start of something good for them when it comes to that, or the start of it being a completely different leadership in all at Ubisoft in the future.
Okay. Logic, what are your thoughts, man?
I'm not going to speak on it too much, but there was in the late 90s, there was this band called Korn
Corn, spelled with a
Corn.
K, y'all. Spelled with a K.
Okay, and they did this song called "All in the Family," and I just hear that song playing as I'm
All in the
sitting
family. Welcome to the family.
Oh man, yeah.
That's funny.
I didn't know anything about the son Charlie, before today, and some of the things I saw, like he seems to talk a good game, and maybe he's not as completely out of touch with reality and what the gaming community and industry wants out of games like his father is, but I just don't like the look of it.
It doesn't look good at all.
And I'm kind of tired of seeing the Guillermo family just keep handing out these really high level jobs to every cousin, every uncle, brother, sister, third cousin removed on the mother side. It's just like it's always a Guillermo that's in charge. And considering their history and the people that we know who've worked at Ubisoft and the culture that they have cultivated, I really don't want to see any more of this family in charge of anything, because when they've been in charge, whether they have been directly involved in some of the tomfoolery, they have at the very least allowed the bad actors to continue to work there and create the culture and really stifle creativity, stifle voices, showing bigotry, showing racism and sexism, and I'm just like, I'm freaking sick of it. And I'm not saying all of that is Charlie's fault, or he is even a bigot or a racist or sexist or whatever, but the optics of it don't look great.
No, they don't.
When your family has kind of presided over this bit of a disaster and you've needed Tencent to kind of stabilize you going forward, it's just not a good look to have more Guillermos running around with high level titles. You guys own the family. I mean, sorry, you own the company, and you own a significant portion of this new subsidiary. Like, you're getting paid. Don't you want to get paid a little bit more by having some more competent people there? I mean, it just seems to make sense with me. Sit back, have a Mai Tai, enjoy your money, and shut up. Like, just stop getting involved in all this stuff. And again, if Charlie's great, awesome. If he's the one Guillermo that actually knows what the heck he's doing, perfect. Maybe he'll be CEO one day. But until then, go somewhere, man. Go to an island and just relax. Like, stay out of the creative side of things, because you guys keep screwing it up. And frankly, the fact that he was running Owlent, which apparently just did free to play games, smaller free to play games that added microtransactions, kind of makes me a little leery of what to expect. So for the next Assassin's Creed, I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen, but like, what if the next Assassin's Creed is a free-to-play game that just has microtransactions? What if they go the MiHoYo route, the gacha system route, where it's a single-player game and all the content's free-ish, but to continue that content, you need to come out the pocket, for gacha and gacha systems in order to advance further. Like, that's not what I'm interested in. So it's just not a good look, man. Not a good look. Anything else you guys want to say on this before we move on to the last topic?
Oh man, you got it, man. You killing it.
I don't know about that. Logic.
No, I'm good, man. Let's roll.
Okay, cool.
Rolling.
Last topic of the night: the Xbox Ally. Apparently, the prices for this may have been leaked. Shockingly enough, this was coming from let's see here, Asus, actually, the company that's making the actual products, which is pretty hilarious as far as I'm concerned. But they accidentally very briefly listed the Xbox ROG Ally handheld and the ROG Ally X at what is this, like £599 and £899? I believe that symbol is pounds, which translates to, for the Ally, $700 and $1,000 for the Ally X, which are definitely price points that I think a lot of different demographics may feel like, yo, I'm not here for that. And especially for the price to performance that I'll be getting from this device. Logic, what are your thoughts about this? So 2 questions. With these price points, who do you think this device is for? And then will console gamers buy this device if it really comes out at these price points?
Look, man, I'm honestly so confused. I don't even know anymore. Look, if I suggest that this is a Windows PC handheld, and I got people yelling at me that it's an Xbox. If I suggest that it's an Xbox, then I got people yelling at me that it's a Windows PC hand. Like I don't even know. I mean, I guess handheld gaming is a thing of a sort. But like there's an effort in conversation.
Euro. It's a euro. My bad. That was a euro. Okay.
Yeah. but to me, what I'm saying is like I don't even. Okay, great. Like again, I don't even know, right? Because I have people saying that, oh well, it's going to be dollar. It's just going to be a straight conversion to dollars. That's the way they're going to charge the price, because the euro, I can't remember anymore if like it's the dollar is worth like more euros. So when you like. But so they set the price so it's €5.99, it's $5.99 US dollars, right? But then I have people saying there's going to be a conversion. Like I don't know, and I'm so confused to the point of I don't know that I don't know that it makes any difference, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you were in for a penny that you were going to get the ROG. I'm sorry, yes, the ROG Xbox Ally. There's another point of confusion. I don't even know what the hell to call the damn thing.
Yeah, I wish they just would have called it the Xbox Ally. Just dropped the ROG, but I guess Asus had to make sure their brand was in there somehow.
Yeah. I don't know. Like if you were in for a penny, you're probably in for a pound. If the thing winds up being another $50 more, $100 more, and let's not even invoke the boogeyman of tariffs in the whole equation. But if the thing winds up being $50 or $100 more, you were already preparing for a certain amount of pain that you had decided you were willing to do with. So I don't know that the conversion rate is really going to matter that much. But my thing is, from a functional perspective, I guess handheld gaming is a thing. There seems to be sometimes an effort in the conversation to conflate this space with the Switch 2. And I'm like, well, just because they're the same form factor and you play them in the same modality, I don't think people think of one as a suitable substitute like for the other. Like if you want a Switch 2, right, you're thinking that you want a console, and you're thinking that you have an argument that you want something Nintendo based. I don't think you're looking at this thing or a Steam Deck as a suitable substitute. And I always say, like, the discussion of competition really comes down to, you're thinking about buying a thing, what are the realistic alternatives to buying a thing? It's just like I always say with PC. Once the person has made the decision that they're probably going towards a gaming PC, they're not thinking about consoles as a competitive suitable substitute, right? So like the price of a console, of the difference between the PlayStation 5 and Xbox, like doesn't matter. Like a person has already decided they're jumping ship into a different price category, right? So I mean, the price is what the price is. I don't think this thing is going to sell Bonga either way. I don't really think it matters whether or not it sells north of 100,000 units or 1 million units, right? My Xbox is going to do whatever it is the plan from here, which again I don't entirely understand or know, and I don't think how well this thing sells is going to make one difference or the other, because if profitability and winning were the basis of why Xbox did gaming, then they would have folded up shop 12 years ago, right? They're a multi-trillion-dollar company. It's what was the joke that I heard a comedian say? Like he was talking to a guy. There was a really big guy at his stand up, and he was the guy was heckling him, so he was giving him crap, and he said, what do you do for a living? And he's like not much, because all you have to do is walk into somebody's house and just start eating. Like, what are they going to say to you, right? And I'm like, that's kind of Xbox. Like nobody's going to tell Xbox, hey, it's time for you to fold up shop. Like, it's time for you to give up the ghost. It's a multi-trillion-dollar company. They'll decide to stop doing gaming. They'll decide to stop doing console gaming, whatever, when they decide. Like, Google's not going to make them stop. Amazon's not going to make them stop. Apple's not going to make them stop. PlayStation's definitely not going to make them stop. Right? It's just, they'll keep spending and deciding what they're going to do, and they'll keep iterating and shifting strategies. And I don't think the handheld is just yet another drum beat in their rock band.
Yeah, so I think this device for people who are into, mostly PC gamers, who are into a companion device that they can play their games on the go, and they are willing to spend an exorbitant amount of money, way more than what they would typically spend like on a console, if they even play consoles, which they probably don't. I think they will be just fine buying this device, and they don't, for them and for their preferences and their wallet, this isn't a big issue. But I think the way that Microsoft is marketing this, it seems to be targeting a different demographic. I think this is targeting Xbox console gamers. I think they see a migration of some of their console market. That is, not all of them, because not all of them are going to want to game on PC or care about PC gaming. I'm not saying that, but I do think that they see a significant shift of their percentages of players going over to PC, and then they're also saying that, like, there is I forgot the term, there's a particular term they have for it that I've seen, but I can't remember the name of it. But essentially what the term means is that, like, it's almost like dead subscriptions or something like that. Like, people come over from consoles with their Game Pass subscriptions. They are in their environment, they're in their ecosystem, they're in the Xbox PC app, and then they're starting to see all the issues, the cracks, the lack of features, and then they see Steam, and then they go to Steam, and then they stay on Steam, even though they got Game Pass. Even when some of those games are within the Game Pass subscription, these people are buying those games on Steam instead, because there's less headaches. There's less issues with the game. World War II is a most recent example of that. Even though, I mean, it's a little bit different, because I think all PC versions are just a hacked mess, but the console versions aren't. But it is what it is. It's just I think they are attempting to find a way to keep those gamers that come over and providing them a console-like experience with a more updated and more seamless, streamlined UI experience with the app that would makes them feel at home, like it's a console, an experience that kind of allows them to, like, just load it up into that experience, kind of like Steam OS, where you don't even have to worry about the desktop aspect of things and a lot of the other headaches that may come with dealing with Windows. I think this is what they want to do, but what I think they don't quite understand is that even though this thing is going to have a Z2 Extreme APU in it, that's still not really like comparing to what you're going to get out of desktop PC gaming. And at that price, I'm very much like that's just way too much. Like, I know people, and some of us know people who have spent over $1,000 on the PC handheld. But these are people who are just straight up PC handheld crackheads. They're just they got a Legion Go. Oh, now I gotta get a ROG Ally. Oh, now I gotta get the Steam Deck OLED. Oh, now I gotta get. They gotta keep every new thing that comes out. They gotta get it. But that's just not like the usual gamer. That's a very, very small demographic of a very, very, very nascent small PC handheld market. And when you look at the numbers right now, anywhere between 5 to 6 million is the total number of PC handhelds that have been sold worldwide. That's it. And I'm not counting the some of the cheap Chinese ones that, you know, aren't that great. Forget them. We're not talking about them. Just the more bigger brand ones. 6 million at the most. And 2/3 of that is the Steam Deck, which is not even PC. So it really gets me wondering that when this thing comes out later this year and we see console gamers who don't know anything about the PC market whatsoever talking about this device, looking into this device, and they see that price. And what they don't know what comes with that is when you dock it, if they even know that you dock it, because I've seen some people online shocked, absolutely shocked that PC handhelds can be docked and used on a TV like a Nintendo Switch. Hardcore console gamers don't know some of the basic functions of these devices. What they also almost guaranteed to not know is how, when it's docked, it's not going to be the same kind of experience you get from an actual console. It is going to have, even though you have the freedom of PC gaming, you're going to see some limitations there due to the hardware that's at hand. And a lot of these third-party docks do not provide any kind of boost. The games themselves are not optimized specifically for that. There's a lot of things that go into it that they're not taking into account. In addition to, if you think there's going to be a dock, but then you look at this device and there's no dock included. So you gotta go buy your own. And those vary in their levels of quality. Like, there's just so much to all this that I feel like most console gamers that I do believe they're targeting are just gonna be like, bro, I'll just wait for your console to come out whenever that is, because I ain't got no desire for this right now. I feel like they will check out, because for them, like, what they value is the simplicity of console gaming. Yes, they already know that it's not as performant as PC. Yes, they already know you don't have the same level of versatility. And no, they do not care. So when you can't provide, like, just by nature of it being a PC device, when you cannot provide those things, you're going to see people go, you know what, this is probably not for me. And that price, $700 for the low end model would be a problem. This thing needs to be, the low end model needs to be as close to Steam Deck OLED price or the regular Steam Deck's price as they possibly can. The Ally, Xbox Ally X, that's the premium device. You can price that however you want, honestly. But that entry level product, if you really want to sell this thing, you need to subsidize that price. But I just do not feel like Microsoft is in a very subsidizing kind of mood anymore. So yeah,
I do want to ask Forte a question. So Forte. So let's assume this thing is paving the way for the next Xbox PC, the Xbox thing, which we think is going to set top box, which we think is going to be this Xbox PC hybrid, which is going to be, by definition, right, is and the notion that Microsoft is no longer going to be subsidizing these things is going to be, I think we've talked about and kicked around prices on this show, probably north of a $750 box. Probably, I contend an $800 to $850 box.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you guys are going to carry in the store?
That's a good question. They carry Steam Decks in the store. Not every store carries them. But it's kind of hard to say due to the fact that it's a digital platform. Now for Xbox, they still do sell digital games, so it wouldn't be a stretch. It's kind of hard to say, especially at that price point. The thing is, I haven't heard anything about it even since they announced it. We haven't heard anything at the retail side about any of that. But I also know, GameStop has kind of been keeping a lot of stuff close to the vest when it comes to like their endeavors and future projects and stuff. There's stuff that they talk about that they put out that we still don't know exactly what's going on. The biggest thing that we know as of right now is Nintendo is our biggest supporter, and that's the direction they're going in right now. And then trading cards is like the next closest thing to that. So with PlayStation not having digital games being able to be purchased in the store, and it mostly just being whatever we can get from the physical side of media, and Xbox kind of heading in that direction, it's kind of hard to even predict what's going to go on there, for the most part, because I can tell you, like I tell a lot of people, when it comes to like the presence of Xbox and not Xbox but games, it's like a lot of the games they just don't make copies of anymore. So I would think if there is a direction where they would carry something like that, it would probably be some negotiation on some other sides to like kind of be able to help support the physical media side of it, just thinking about it, because it's like at a certain point, what is the company getting out of it if they're not, outside of selling DLC and digital currency, which I know they do make something off of. You don't make any money off that hardware. And what are you attaching to that? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I always kind of look at it. I think with the Steam Deck, it was just more of, and they don't sell them new. They only sell them pre-owned because they only sell the ones that people took in. So even that is something that it's kind of niche and obscure at that point. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did at some point. Because I know they have tests out there where some stores are taking MacBooks and stuff. So they're actually really going in that direction. It just really depends on how it does, I guess. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some conversations happening out there about it. But I don't know how it would actually benefit due to the scenarios that they have in place with just their overall branding and the way that the distribution of games is working now.
So let me ask this question to the both of you. Over or under for this, the both of these devices combined, the Ally and the Ally X, the Xbox ROG Ally X, over under 5 million.
Ooh. In how long? It just in life?
Let's give it a year.
A year? Under.
Logic.
Wait, say that one more time, SloMo. Sorry.
For both the Xbox Ally and Xbox Ally X combined, their combined unit sales in a year after launch, over under 5 million.
Under.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's under. I just don't see enough. I just don't see.
Even if they market this because Steam Deck is the most sold out of all the PC handhelds, but Valve only sells it on Steam.
And it markets itself.
Yeah, right. And so this would be a more budget put into marketing and other ways that Valve isn't interested in marketing the Steam Deck, so more eyes would be on it, and it should be available in more retailers like Target and Walmart and Best Buy, GameStop, so on and so forth. Still under 5 million, right? Yes. This is what you guys think. Okay,
you're gonna have to have a big marketing campaign. It's gonna have a spot at the TGAs.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously going to feature in the developer direct in January. Do you think they're going to carry this in Target? Because I don't see an audience for it there.
Best Buy for certain, because Asus ROG has an in with Best Buy.
Yeah.
And definitely.
I think it will. I think it will, because Walmart sells PCs. I mean, not great PCs, but they sell pre
He said
they say
on hoop PCs, and I'm sorry, like
pre-configured hoop PCs. So look, they and I think, I don't know why. I have to don't quote me on this. I feel like the last time I was in Target, I saw a ROG in there or something like that. I'll have to double check, because I actually plan on going to Target tomorrow.
I mean,
maybe I'll go into that section and see but I felt like I saw a PC handheld in Target, and I was shocked, but I was just kind of too busy to really pay attention. But I felt it wouldn't surprise me if they sold them there too.
Look, I keep the Target app and the Walmart app on my phone. I just did a search for ROG Ally, and out of 200 hits, and I'm not searching locally, I'm searching as far as like something that could be shipped to me. There is no ROG Ally here.
Okay, all right. So then maybe it was something else. Maybe I dreamed it. I don't know. But I at the very least, it will be sold at more retailers than in more places to buy these kind of devices than the Steam Deck is.
Yeah, but I don't.
Still under 5 million. I agree with that. I don't think. Maybe 5 million is too much. Let's go with 1 million. We'll sell a million units in a year.
You're talking specifically the ROG Xbox Ally.
Yes, both of them actually combined.
Combined in a year.
Both the base model and the premium model in a year, 1 million.
Okay, so the hard
over
thing
under.
A year.
They do have it. They do have it listed at Walmart. My problem with Walmart is they do the same thing as Amazon. The Walmart can be used as a storefront.
As a storefront, yeah.
Right.
A year. A handheld. I say under.
Under?
Yeah, I say under.
At these price points, $700 for the base unit,
under.
Definitely under. Definitely under. If this is more of a controlled leak where they were just like, let's
gauge the market.
Check the temperature. Let's check the temperature. Asus, pretend like you leaked that and see what happened.
Yeah.
Oh no, they don't like that. Like, I don't know, right? Yeah. But if the base model is more along the lines of like 550,
yeah,
I can see that base model carrying them over 1 million in a year. But 700, no, absolutely not. This is why, like, and I know I'm not comparing it directly to a Nintendo Switch, but when it comes to the kind of experience that you're getting, because like when it's portable, you gotta care about TPM, whatever, TDM, I don't know, TDT, whatever it is, right? Your power draw, how much power you're using, because that really affects, like, thank you, and that really affects how much battery life you have to actually play games while you're in handheld mode. And I think some of that demographic where the Switch 2 differs is that the demographics may be that a lot of the Switch players may play, and I think the statistics do show this, that the majority of them do play in handheld mode more than docked. But I'm not part of that group. I play almost primarily in docked with my Switch and occasionally in handheld when I'm on vacation or whatever. But that may be some different dynamics with the PC handheld market. And maybe it's not. Who knows? But what I'm saying here is that, like, the kind of experience that you're getting when the battery is a real big determining factor, and some of the things that you do to optimize a game on your desktop PC is different than what you're doing on a PC handheld. Like there are other things that you are limiting in order to make sure that you get the best balance of battery life, visuals, and frame rate. Some of what people consider to be an acceptable frame rate on PC handhelds is lower than what people expect from even on consoles. And so there's a lot that goes into it that people may not understand right away until this device comes out and they start seeing some Digital Foundry comparisons and things like that. Like I'm seeing, like, Digital Foundry's already comparing the Switch 2 to the Steam Deck for some third-party games. And I'm seeing people being shocked at some of the results, that those who are pretty familiar with PC handhelds or just the handheld market in general is already like, yeah, I kind of figured that to be the case. I say all that to say that, like, that Switch is with Mario Kart World bundle is $500. And Nintendo clearly didn't even want to go that high, but due to market conditions, they did what they had to do. You go higher than that, and I do think that you're kind of cooked. Like, you're kind of wasting your time here. But
yeah, and I think, yeah, I think less than $1 million too.
Okay.
I mean,
And
the reason I say that is because, I pulled it. Those are storefront stocks of Royale. I think they're from, like, wholesale direct, like, Cyber EGC.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not Walmart. So I think
okay,
this thing is probably going to go. Yes, it's going to go into higher end retail chains that carry, like, gaming gear, like a Best Buy. But I don't think this thing is going to get out to retail chains to the masses. And I mean, I think you're going to have to be in a market where you're going looking for something like this. Right? I mean, in Best Buy, where is this thing going to be? It's going to be over with the laptops. It's not going to be in the console section, I don't think. Because right now, Xboxes don't even get the same amount of shelf space that they used to get. Like, Xbox consoles don't get the same amount of shelf space they used to get at Best Buys. So I think these things are going to be in the laptop section. You're going to have to go into the laptop section and be looking for it to get it in your windshield. And so what I think is, when you look at the competitive market, right, when somebody goes looking for this, what they're going to see is, you're probably talking about somebody who's already aware of the Steam Deck, and they're going to see this as one option amongst another half dozen options, right? There's going to be the stock ROG Ally. There's going to be the Legion Go. There's going to be this MSI thing. There's going to be new handhelds coming out with the Ryzen AI HX 300 series chips, right? Like the 390, which have the potential to be more performant because they have more cores. And so you're going to, and I'm not saying that that's a slam dunk. There's going to be over under there. They have more cores. Do they provide better performance, or do they just suck more battery power? That remains to be seen. So I just think the competitive field that's already small is going to have a lot of different options in it. And I don't necessarily know that with the field of people who are going looking for this thing, if that Xbox branding is really going to sway them in that direction. There's definitely going to be a chunk of people who go looking for it who will absolutely not want any Xbox branding, right? So.
Yeah, and then I think the other aspect of this is still their exclusive version of this Xbox UI experience that's making it feel more like a console. I mean, there's been some things out there. I mean, I know you've seen some of it from like Moore's Law is Dead. And speaking, you know, and he said some things that have not quite panned out the way he said them. I mean, like, this is someone that nearly every generation kept saying that AMD was going to outperform NVIDIA, you know, straight up, you know, and was wrong every single time, and you know, but whatever, right? Like, his platform's big enough that he gets in contact with people who do have sources or are the source. And he said some of the things that he said about what Microsoft is doing behind the scenes, where developers are asking questions about this device. Is it going to come with dev kits? They're like, no, it's a PC.
Right.
And
they call it a PC.
Is it going to
call it a console?
Right. Internally, they're like, in the marketing, they're calling it like a console internally, and to developers, they're calling it what it is, which is a PC. And what comes with that is that, hey, look, the Steam Deck is also a PC, but you know what the Steam Deck also does? They have the Steam Deck Verify program. They have developers that are actually optimizing their games to run well on the Steam Deck, or at least attempt to. The Steam Deck Verified isn't a guarantee slam dunk it's going to run well. It's sometimes it's a crapshoot, but you at least have like that green, you know, that green check mark that says, hey, look, it's not bad, it's pretty good on this. Or you have kind of like that the orange, you know, symbol, which kind of says there may be some compatibility issues. There may be, you may need to use the trackpads, or you may need to play around with the controller settings in order to get this to be a good experience on the Steam Deck. You know, that kind of stuff. Like, what is their version of that? Because if you're coming from a console and you think you're getting your console games, which is no guarantee, even though they said, hey, look, we're going to give you backwards compatibility, you're going to be able to get your games. I know for a fact that's not a guarantee. So, like, don't take that to the bank.
Right.
Please don't. But outside of that, what is their version of making sure that the games that you're playing, that are Play Anywhere, because they're really playing a Play Anywhere. Hey, you bought this game on an Xbox, it's going to be available through the Xbox PC app on your PC handheld. Yeah, but that's not the console version of the game. Like, I need people to understand there's a console version of games that were built specifically with a Xbox dev kit and were built specifically for the hardware specifications of an Xbox Series X or S. And then there's the PC version of games, which are not the same. Which is why there are a ton of games on the Xbox platform, on Xbox Series, and barely any of those games on the Xbox PC app, because on PC, the storefront is just nowhere near as popular. So a lot of games skip that storefront. So even if you do have Play Anywhere, the version of the game that you're playing, even though you may have cloud saves that allow you to transfer the game that you played, you know, wherever you were at on the Xbox Series S, direct to you know, your handheld, and it's the same save point. The game itself, the build of the game is not the same whatsoever. Like Starfield, for example, you could do that with Starfield. You could play on the Xbox, save your game, boot that thing up on a PC handheld or your PC desktop, and you'll be right where you were, hopefully, because there's been some weird desync issues with Starfield, but it's a different build of the game that you're playing on. And when you don't have any kind of like serious performance issues, like it may not have as high a frame rate against compared to a desktop PC, but it runs. And then you get into a PC handheld and the performance ain't quite there. Like or it's buggy, it's all get out, or there's a lot of compatibility issues with no warning. So at least Steam Deck warns you when you got that, when you go to the store page, there is a very big symbol that lets you know how well it's going to perform on this device. It isn't fully accurate, but at least they attempted and they're trying to make it as accurate as possible. Do they have a version of that? And to get back to what Moore's Law is saying, is that these aren't really things they're even really thinking about right now. Like, these aren't things that are being worked on that will be ready at the launch of this device. So, like, good luck.
Well, but here's the thing, SloMo. What do we always say about the Xbox games? And I just realized this is the same thing. The reality of this device is it's launching day and date in Game Pass. So all of the things, and yay verily, I readily admit, like, all of those things that we are saying are the rough edges are definitely going to be there. Yeah. But what is the initial early adopter community going to say? They're going to say it doesn't matter to me. It's in Game Pass. All the games I'm playing on, I'm playing for free. So yes, everything's not perfect about it, but who cares? It's in Game Pass, and they'll have time to get it better. Like yes, the real game logic would call poo-poo on that. But like, I just realized, because we've been having a lot of conversations trying to understand the perspective of the consumers that are coming from that space, and I just realized I think that's how they're going to see it. I think this is a piece of hardware that, to them, just like they say with games, and we say, okay, but that game doesn't have DLSS, right? It's not the same as the Steam version. They shrug their shoulders. They say, I don't care. It's in Game Pass. I'm playing it for free. This is literally hardware that I somewhat jokingly, but say it's almost as if the hardware is launching in Game Pass, because that's what they're going to use it for, to play their Game Pass games.
Well, I mean, that's the majority of what's in the storefront. Right. Is like what over the past few years, what has shown up that isn't a Xbox first party game that goes into the Xbox PC app has been games that are in Game Pass. And so, you know, they've made a deal, and part of that deal was, hey, look, we need to have parity between the games that, you know, for the most part, that are on PC and the games that are also on Game Pass PC, the games that are on Game Pass Xbox. And so if you see a game that's in Game Pass, more than likely, for the most part, not always, but for the most part, it's on PC as well, the PC version as well. But again, like as I was saying earlier, this is a different version of that game, regardless of where your game save is at, how much progress, how much time you put into it. And yeah, you're right. Like, there are people who act like, I mean, we've seen it with like people who have looked at the version of a game, even Xbox's own first party games that are in Steam versus that version that is in the Xbox PC app. Now, it's not always that the Xbox PC app version is inferior, but we've seen a multitude of problems here where, like, it's on an older build at launch than the Steam version. So the Steam version has better optimization, no missing features. One version might, like the Steam version, might have frame generation where the Xbox PC app version doesn't. It doesn't have all the upscalers, you know, like it's a multitude of problems. Sometimes it just don't work, like Starfield. When, what's the name of that DLC they came out with like a year ago, I think.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, well, when that had some issues. Yeah, it launched fine on Steam, but on the Xbox PC app, after updating their version of the game, some people were locked out of being able to play it natively on their PC due to issues with I can't remember. it's very convoluted. I'm not going to get into the details because part of it has to do with older games that you may have played that had a very different kind of directories structure within Windows, where they locked files, locked folders that didn't allow you to modify things. And it came down to the fact that Bethesda placed the executable for the DLC in the wrong folder. And due to some people having some older games that then completely changed the structure of the entire directory of all the where Xbox games go into your storage, that turned into, not only is what did Bethesda screw up in how they launched the game, but you couldn't manually fix it yourself because you couldn't move that executable into the correct folder yourself because that folder is locked. And so, like, these are kind of problems that have arisen from Xbox PC app, and it's getting better. I'm not going to act like it's all negative. It's gotten better, significantly better in the last year, but it's still kind of just when you have a certification process that is literally the mirror, but just maybe a little less stringent to the certification process that's on console. And Steam doesn't really have a certification process at all. You know, developers are able to almost beta their new updates in Steam, and then they eventually show up over on the Xbox PC app later. Like, these things, these will be consistent not just on the desktop front, but on your PC handheld as well. So you're going to get updates later. You're going to get optimizations later. Like, there's a lot of things that kind of go into it, and I feel like they have an uphill battle with this device as far as it making it a successful thing. That it's not going to be Asus's fault. Really, it's going to be more along the lines of how they prepared for this and where they're marketing it to.
And if you get a Steam version of a game on here, like you mentioned, like, Steam's not going to do any verification that your game, which is built for a desktop PC, and where Steam makes sure that it will also concurrently run on the Steam Deck. They're not doing that for these Windows PC handhelds. So you just have and you're not going to be able to assume that, like, hey, if it says it runs on Steam Deck, then it's going to run fine on my ROG Xbox Ally, because that won't necessarily be the case. An interesting thing, that DLC you're talking about is Shattered Space.
That's it. Thank you.
It has mixed reviews on the Steam community user reviews, 50%, and that's 30 user reviews out of the last 30 days. It has 3,035, almost 3,500 user reviews that have it at mostly negative. I actually own that DLC and I haven't touched it yet. But the last thing I want to say is, one thing I will say is, because I hadn't thought about it before, an interesting thing for Microsoft, right? I've talked about how these handheld devices really, outside of the Switch, the reason the people have really taken to the Steam Deck mostly, and will take to these Windows handheld devices, is because they're seen as, I think you and I talked about this before, they're seen as ways to extend your experience from a more primary piece of hardware where you do your gaming, right? You own a gaming PC, you're big in the Steam ecosystem, you buy a Steam Deck to extend that, mostly. Same thing for these Windows handhelds. You got a desktop PC, that's primarily where you play. You have some affinity for Xbox, maybe, and so you buy one of these things to take your gaming on the go. One interesting get should be for Xbox is whoever you are able to pull into this space, if you are able to grab console gamers who say, I want a handheld to extend my Xbox experience. Today, there's not a console handheld that's made by, but there are these other handhelds that are made by Xbox, and I'm willing to deal with, like, the rough edges of, but they're not exactly the same games. Any of those people, in order to fully take advantage of Play Anywhere, are going to need to upgrade to Game Pass Ultimate. Right? Because some of those titles, the only way they can play them is through the cloud. And the only way you can get to Xbox Cloud Gaming is by paying for Game Pass Ultimate. So whoever they are able to move from Xbox console to try this thing out as an experiment, those people will buy this device, but will also, for them, hopefully upgrade to Game Pass Ultimate. And there might be some business positives of for them from that aspect.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, I don't want to bog this down any further. I know we it's almost
bog us down. We just started.
In the morning. No, it's almost 1 in the morning. The brother gotta go to sleep. So that means, I'm gonna shut this down at least for now. But I think this has been a really good discussion.
Tomorrow's Friday, man. You can sleep.
I know you can sleep all day. You ain't got to even get up and go to your computer.
So anyway, right?
New topic.
I just hit the mic stand. See, look, I got you out of here. We are gonna get up out of here.
Come on, SloMo.
Appreciate you coming through.
Don't you like talking? Don't you, SloMo?
No, I don't. I hate talking, actually. No. I also hate talking to you, Yoshi. So, Game Logic, let the fine people know where they can find you, sir.
You can catch me on the Enough to Keep Going weekly video games podcast over on the E2KG Network podcasting channel on YouTube at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Sundays. You can also catch Let's Plays and other video game content over on the Rounding Off Infinity gaming channel on YouTube. And I might be trying this little thing that I've done before that is kind of like a solo cast where it's just me talking through some gaming topics, but that's still in the works. And if that does happen, that will also be on the Rounding Off Infinity gaming channel on YouTube.
Cool. Forte, when are you streaming Death Stranding again?
Most likely because I work tomorrow and either Saturday not afternoon. I get off work at 4:00 on Saturday or Sunday night. So it will be this weekend. It won't be tomorrow because I work all day. Friday, it's going to either be Saturday or Sunday.
Cool. All right. As for myself, I need to get back to streaming Borderlands. I'm literally right at the end of Borderlands 1 Game of the Year edition and then getting started on the pre-sequel. Hopefully I could be able to do that this weekend. And yeah, that's about it. I was going to say Death Stranding too, but nah. I'm not streaming that no time soon. Don't worry about that. We're gonna get up out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We will be back next Thursday. Unless anything changes, we'll let you guys know. Same time as usual, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're out, man. Peace.
Peace.